What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4TGO768 Chance Encounter with Altruk-E, the Mysterious Knight, put on the shelf for subscription and full order. Port of the Kingdom of Goa. At this time, the port was crowded with people, and many dignitaries stood around the shore, cheering towards an extremely magnificent and solemn passenger ship. Everyone's eyes were filled with admiration and fanaticism. When Ace Sabo came to the port, he was almost scared away by the grand occasion here. "Hey, brother, why are there so many people gathered at the port? Is there a big person coming?" Ace asked a young nobleman with a suppressed voice. Hearing this, the young nobleman first took a look at the man in the cloak, his sloppy attire, and the tattered backpack on his back, giving him a very bad first impression. But idle is also idle, it is better to chat with people. "You don't even know that Her Royal Highness is going back to China? Princess?" "That's right. His Majesty the King's favorite princess, Her Royal Highness Sally Nankainet." When the name of Her Royal Highness was mentioned, the young nobleman's face was full of intoxication, and little stars began to twinkle in his eyes. "Although Her Highness Sally is less than 10 years old, I am only in my early 20s, and I still have a chance to pursue Her Highness Sally. Once I catch up with you, maybe I will be the next one." Ace. Sabo. The two quietly stayed away from the young nobleman and began to look for the ship market. Due to the crowds all around, it was very difficult for Ace and Sabo to move, and finally found a ship market, but there was a closed sign posted at the door. There are only 3 shipping markets in the port, and the other 2 are relatively far away, so it is not realistic to squeeze past the crowds. "Sabo, why don't we just grab a boat and go to sea?" Ace was annoyed by the shouts of the crowd at the port, and now he just wanted to leave quickly. Sabo nodded. However, just as the two turned around and walked towards a relatively spacious merchant ship, they were accidentally knocked down by a middle-aged man in a top hat next to them. The man in the top hat was about to turn around and apologize, when he saw Sabo with a pained expression on his face. He froze in place. "Hey, Sabo, are you Sabo? Are you still alive? Come home with me," the man in the top hat shouted excitedly. Hearing the familiar voice, Sabo's face was terribly gloomy, and he didn't want to pay attention. Ace stood up slowly, wondering, "Who is this person? He seems to know you." "Don't worry about him, he must have admitted his mistake. Let's go," Sabo simply said, and then got out from the gap at the feet of the crowd. "Sabo, wait for me." Ace hurried to catch up, but the huge backpack restricted his movement, and he couldn't be as slippery as a loach like Sabo. The man in the top hat grabbed Ace's backpack and wanted to ask about Sabo, but Ace broke free violently. However, the backpack was originally a second-hand item picked up by Ace and Sabo at the terminal of uncertain objects. When the two pulled it, all the gold, silver, jewelry and Bailey in the backpack were immediately scattered on the ground. This scene instantly attracted the attention of all the nobles around, and there was a trace of greed that could not be concealed in everyone's eyes. Although many aristocratic families are rich, no one thinks they have too much money. Ace clicked his tongue and didn't care about the money anymore. Anyway, he has already made up his mind to grab a boat and go to sea. If he loses his money, he will lose it. At worst, he will get it back later. Now he is more worried about Sabo. Ever since the man in the top hat appeared, he noticed something was wrong with Sabo's mood. Ace didn't notice, just as he was chasing towards the direction Sabo left, behind him, those treasures were all swallowed up by a mysterious shadow. And those nobles also found that all the treasures on the ground had disappeared, and they were all stunned. When they realized that Bailey in the wallet was also missing, they were completely messed up in the wind. "Sabo, Sabo." Ace shouted loudly, but his voice was drowned by the noise of the crowd. He drilled along the gap all the way, and successfully got lost in the crowd. At this moment, there was a burst of exclamation from the front left, which caught Ace's attention, and he ran towards the source of the sound. Pushing aside the crowd, Ace came to the front, and suddenly found that there was a wide road with all the nobles standing on both sides of the road, obviously a passage specially reserved for Her Royal Highness to return to the palace. Her Majesty Sally's sedan chair just moved to this area, but Sabo, who was rushing forward, bumped into the thigh of a sedan chair bearer. The person who carried the sedan chair was knocked over directly, and the sedan chair also fell over. The blonde girl with wavy hair sitting on the sedan chair immediately fell to the ground, hitting her head on the ground until her head was bleeding. Hiss. Even with Ace's IQ level, it can be seen that Sabo is in trouble. It's a big deal. Just as he was about to rush forward to pull Sabo, he saw a burly knight in bright silver armor appearing in front of Sabo in an instant. A long gun was firmly pressed against Sabo's chest. At this moment Sabo has been frightened and dumbfounded, and he can't bear to resist at all. Asking for flowers. In the end, Sabo was arrested for offending Her Royal Highness and executed 3 days later. Hearing this trial, Ace was dumbfounded, but the surrounding nobles cheered loudly one by one, scolding the hateful Sabo while comforting the little princess who was wronged and crying. Ace's eyes froze, a monstrous murderous intent grew in his body, and the aura of Japanese power permeated the audience. Plop. 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 The surrounding nobles fell down one by one, and finally only the burly knight was left standing in place within 100 meters. Conqueror's Haki, the burly knight glanced at Ace, and then glanced at Sabo, who was terrified in his hand, with a playful expression on his face. This little guy is supposed to be your very important friend, and let you inspire the Conqueror's Haki that only 1 in a million has. Let go of Sabo, Ace glared. Oh, this little guy is called Sabo. The burly knight's look of beating up made Ace go crazy. He rushed towards the burly knight regardless of the consequences, but Ace was kicked away before he got close, and he turned over many nobles along the way. The burly knight didn't care about this at all. He served the Goya royal family, and he really didn't pay attention to this group of nobles who only flatter their feet. Ace coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, then continued to charge towards the burly knight. However, the gap in strength cannot be made up for by accumulating full Ace rage points. In the end, Ace collapsed from exhaustion, and was grabbed by the knight with Sabo, and then carried the unconscious princess back to the palace with the other hand. As for the other servants and nobles who fainted, he has to take care of them. Dayton's house. When Sikong Ye received the news that Sabo Ace had been arrested, he was stunned. He guessed that Ace Sabo might be dishonest, so Heidasha, who had arranged to follow Ace Sabo at the terminal of uncertain objects, never withdrew. Heidasha is the shadow of Bird Jamie. Because people are stupid, it is named Heidasha. At that time, Karina happened to send all accompanying shadows to the Kingdom of Goa to inquire about information, so Heidasha received the task of tracking Ace and Sabo, and has never been released. P.S. The first order is 287, and the author hereby expresses his gratitude to the 287 readers. P.S. This month is coming to an end, and tomorrow is June. The author is here begging for a wave of monthly tickets, thank you billion. Chapter 077. Sabo asks for help, and the Emperor Star is encircled by the 7th Regiment. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Sikong Ye never expected that such important news would come from a shadow soldier who was almost forgotten by both him and Karina. What was even more unexpected was that Ace and Sabo encountered a crisis beyond the plot. Heidasha. Ace Sabo and Ace Sabo have already absconded with money, and they encountered Altruck 3 at the port of the Kingdom of Goa. The money was accidentally lost, and it has been recovered by me. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Heidasha. Sabo bumped into the princess by mistake and was taken into custody by the royal knights. He was executed 3 days later, and Ace also executed him to save Sabo. Close black lens bracket. These are the 2 messages that Heidasha passed on to the Vice Fleet. Sikong Ye can see the news of the Vice Fleet, and naturally Kuina and Karina can also see it. The 2 girls quickly stopped their practice and gathered in front of Sikong Ye to start a discussion. As intelligence leader, Karina took the lead in summarizing. Captain, according to the news from the Shadow Corps, the Goa 007 royal family has the King's army and the knights. Almost every one of the 3,000 soldiers in the King's army has the strength of a Marine soldier, and many of them have the strength of a Marine non-commissioned officer. Nearly all of the 100 knights have the strength of a Marine lieutenant. The knight who arrested Sabo and Ace is called Doka, and he has the strength of a Marine lieutenant. However, Doka is not the knight commander, but the knight commander's apprentice. The knight commander's own strength is much stronger than Daoka's, and it is suspected that he has the strength of a Marine officer. When a series of data appeared in front of his eyes, Sikong Ye realized that even though the Kingdom of Goya was only a small kingdom in East Blue, it at least had the level of the Marine branch in Rog Town. The strength of the Marine officer is equivalent to the sea level of the system. Sikong Ye has no fear of this, and the combat power of the dark fruit version of Venom is enough to deal with it. As long as it is not a B-level powerhouse, there is nothing to be afraid of. Kuina went on to say, if it's just to rescue Ace and Sabo secretly, it's not too difficult, but I don't know whether you want to call the door with a high-profile or low-profile rescue, Captain. Of course. Do nothing, the second daughter looked dumbfounded. Could it be that the captain thought it was too dangerous and planned to die? Impossible. It seems that the captain has never been counseled, even if he is being watched by Garp. He can still sit on top of Luffy basking in the sun calmly. Sikong Ye did not explain this, but directly issued an order. Kuina, you ask Karina for the most complete death list of nobles, and then send it to Crow. Let Crow distribute it by himself. I will make the entire Goa kingdom fall into chaos within 2 days. It's all right. Kuina hesitated for a moment, but finally followed the captain's order. Karina, give your intelligence troops an order. All nobles who are marked as blacklisted are allowed to steal, and you must ensure that no one notices you during the theft. No problem, leave it to me. Karina agrees as well. Open black lens bracket. Sabo. At Tuanzu, Ace and I were captured by the Goya royal family. Can you come and save me? Even if you don't save me, I beg you to save Ace. I accidentally hurt him. Close black lens bracket. Unexpectedly, Sabo, who had never been involved in the main fleet, actually spoke up on his own initiative. This news caused Luffy and others to stop their training, and gathered around Sikong Ye to inquire about the specific situation. Sikong Ye said it again. Luffy immediately. Although Zoro and Usopp didn't speak, they obviously didn't intend to watch their companions being sent to Shintai and remain indifferent. People need to be saved, but I can go alone. Luffy picked his nostrils. Captain Sikong, you have changed. You used to let me go, and you hid on top of me yourself. Zoro stared at the dead fish eyes. Captain, you haven't settled your debt for cheating me into eating devil fruit, so entrust me with this task, and I will let it go. Usopp patted his chest. I have a disease that I will die if I don't save my companions. The captain asked me to go with you. I can give you the most comfortable remote support. Sikong Ye. Good guy, everyone wants to find a powerful opponent to fight. Even Usopp, a coward, can't wait to join the fight. But Sikong Ye shook his head in the end. Once these three guys went to deal with the Goya royal family, they might stab someone. He just signed an agreement with Marine, and then his crew wiped out the kingdom of Goa. Wouldn't the previous cooperation be in vain? Where would he find Kirby and Tashigi without Marine's help? The three of Luffy also wanted to fight for it, and they all set up a set of acting like a baby, showing cuteness and rolling around, but Sikong Ye remained unmoved. Just when Sikong Ye wanted to go off to loosen the bones of the three of Luffy himself, he suddenly found another message from the auxiliary fleet. Black Nose. The Emperor Star is under siege, and there are 7 pirate groups on the opposite side, the leader of which is the Creek Pirates, requesting support. Close black lens bracket. Huh, now it's all right, Luffy and the 3 of them won't have to worry about finding an opponent. Just received a message that the Emperor Star has been attacked. Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, Kurina, and Kaya, 5 of you, immediately go to the Emperor Star to guard the ship. Touche obeys Kurina's command. Oh yeah. God help me too. Great. Ahem, I mean it's my job to watch the boat. Seeing that the 3 of Luffy were still so happy to hear that the Emperor Star was attacked, Sikong Ye immediately stared at them with a death stare. Luffy and Zoro almost stopped the car, but Usopp changed his words in time. Sikong Ye was too lazy to continue to entangle with these 3 live treasures, and after the arrangement was completed, he took Kuina to the Windmill village first. All the beasts encountered on the road were killed by Sikong Ye and put into the system backpack. Captain, what is the purpose of our going to Windmill village? Windmill village is Luffy's hometown. I will take you there to sign a passive contract. Sikong Ye said indifferently. The family members of the crew members in Shimotsuki village, Zailuobu village, and Corbo mountain have basically signed passive contracts, but the most distant Windmill village has not yet signed a contract. Naturally, Sikong Ye cannot leave loopholes for imaginary enemies that may exist in the future. Kuina nodded when she heard the words, and understood why the captain took her with her. 5.7 The two ran all the way, arrived at Fengche village half an hour later, did not greet the villagers, and left quietly after signing the contract. Sikong Ye asked Kuina to support the Emperor Star, and he used the ultra-distance ship to send him to the place where Sabo was trapped. Corpo Mountain West Blue Shore. At this time, the battle on the Emperor Star was in a heated state. Pirate Admiral Creek, a heroic figure. Ever since he learned that the Ziwei pirates had a peerless sword, Crick began to inquire about the whereabouts of the Ziwei pirates. Just a few days ago, I learned that the Emperor Star had appeared in the Goa Kingdom, and immediately found 6 pirate groups to cooperate with the Ziwei pirates. P.S. The first subscription mentioned at the end of the last chapter refers to the subscription of the first chapter, not the subscription on the first day. Please forgive me for the typo. Now the subscription of the first chapter has reached 317. Thank you, readers. 078 The 8 immortals cross the sea to show off their supernatural powers, crazily grabbing heads. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. After several days of searching, Crick finally found the trace of the Emperor Star on the west blue bank of Mount Corpo. She didn't approach rashly like that silly woman in Elvita, and Creek gave the command to fire from a long distance away. It is also for this reason that the black-nosed and other shadow soldiers stationed on the Emperor Star had to draw out most of their troops to resist. Although the remaining small number of troops were sent out by Black Nose to attack and assassinate those pirates. But the strength of the shadow soldiers lies there, and it is said that potion is only the strength of marine soldiers. Facing a force that was more than 10 times larger than their own, the shadow soldiers could not gain much of an advantage. These black shadows are really difficult to deal with. After holding on for half an hour, there is still room for strength. Creek stood at the bow of the ship and exclaimed on the Delador Nord Saberu. Crick is wearing a golden armor, with a cloak swaying on his back, a spear in his right hand and a round shield in his left, giving off the aura of a general fighting on the battlefield. Faced with Crick's question, a Jin, the ghost man with a ball in his hand, said indifferently. It may be some kind of unknown devil fruit. Do you need me to find out the manipulator behind the scenes? Ah Jin, didn't you see that those little ghosts were not on the boat, and those black shadows were just in charge of guarding the boat? Captain, what do you mean? That peerless famous sword will definitely not be thrown on the ship casually, so what we have to do now is to invite you into the urn with the help of other pirates, and then is the time for you to show your skills. Good Captain. The captain's method is high. When we deal with the Ziwei pirate group, the other pirate groups have no spare power. We can take it down without a single soldier. Stand on the iron Baruyan sidewalk on the other side of Captain Creek. Ha 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 ha, sooner or later I will become the overlord of this sea, and it is their luck to have them join my Creek pirates. Crick smiled arrogantly. Those who can survive this battle are elites. Once they are recruited, the strength of the pirate group will usher in a period of skyrocketing. Million Super Flame Dragon Star. A small and untimely voice suddenly entered the ears of Crick and the others. Just when Crick was puzzled, the ghost man agent quickly rushed to the Captain Crick and pushed him into the sea. Seeing this scene, Taibi Baloo was really stunned. What is this for? What do two big men do to die for love? You jump, I will jump, you don't jump, Lousy pushes you. In an instant, Taibi Baloo imagined a base battle in the sea. The picture was so beautiful, a faint holy light appeared to cover the vital points, and then a fiery red dragon appeared in front of him and drove straight in. Hiss. Taibi Baloo gasped, only to realize that the giant dragon was not his imagination, but a real scene. Rumble. The next moment, Taibi Baloo and all the pirates on board were blown away by the Yanlong star, and their life and death were unknown. Crick's car, the Delador Nord Saberu, was also shattered into pieces amidst the sound of the explosion. After half a minute, peeved, what's going on? Crick came out of the sea, looking at the floating wreckage around him, his heart skipped a beat. The ghost man Ah Jin looked silent, his eyes swept towards the shore, and Crick also subconsciously looked at the 5 little ghosts that suddenly appeared from the shore. Luffy, who stood in the middle, hugged his arms, Zoro on the left had already put his hand on the handle of the knife, and Usopp on the right touched his nose, and the slingshot in his hand was faintly emitting a trace of smoke. 2 little girls, Karina and Kaya, stood on the outermost sides, with cute faces. Luffy's eyes were fixed on the damaged side of the Emperor Star, and his face was as gloomy as water. Dare to attack the Emperor Star, unforgivable. If the captain sees this scene, he will probably go berserk. It will definitely go berserk, who told the captain to take great care of the Emperor Star on weekdays. This group of guys are too disgusting. If they have the ability to trouble us, what kind of man are they to vent their anger on the ship? Just do it. Luffy and the others have completely sentenced these pirates to death. Karina took the lead in transforming into the form of a 2-winged fallen angel, spreading her wings and flying high into the sky, aiming at the caught fish in the sea and casting a black feather storm. In an instant, large black feathers shot towards the pirates floating on the sea like a rain of arrows. Puff puff. With a series of sounds of metal piercing into flesh, the sea was dyed blood red on the spot, and corpses riddled with holes rose and fell with the current. Grunt, asterisk, Gulu, Crick and Akin, who had escaped the black feather storm by chance, swallowed wildly. This little girl is too cruel. Karina was also taken aback when she saw that she killed a group of pirates instantly. However, he soon calmed down. It is not a pity for these guys to die. If they are killed, they will be killed. It's just a pity for these shadows. Karina felt quite regretful in her heart. Although she can also sign passive contracts require close contact with shadows like Gecko Moria to do so. It's not like Kuina, who can cast a passive contract with just one look. Luffy and Zoro, who watched Karina show off Kamui on the shore, were in a hurry. Luffy stretched out his arms to grab the side of one of the pirate ships and was about to eject. Take me for a ride. Zoro grabbed Luffy's other hand, but Luffy kicked Zoro away, and he didn't forget to add something after the ejection. No one will steal the head from me. You said if you don't grab it, you won't grab it. Then how embarrassing is my Usopp god tier? Usopp pointed the slingshot at the pirate ship directly in front of Luffy, and released another fire dragon star. Boom. There was a flash of flames, followed by a violent explosion, and a pirate ship was annihilated in the explosion. Lu 987 Fei, who was blown away by the strong wind of the explosion, quickly grabbed a piece of wood as a foothold, and floated smoothly on the sea. It was so dangerous, almost fell into the sea and drowned. Luffy was lying on the wooden plank panting heavily, with a look of life after a catastrophe, and then remembered being robbed by Usopp, and suddenly became unhappy. Damn it, it's too much to have no long-range attack and flying ability. Suddenly, Luffy stood up and thought of the trick he developed. Magic Oak Gear 2 Rocket Launcher. Luffy first entered the second gear state, and then stretched his hands back wildly, in the shape of a Kamahachi gun, and shot out instantly, aiming directly at the nearest pirate ship. Bang! The pirate ship disintegrated in an instant, and the pirates on board fell into the sea one after another, and their hearts were completely messed up. Are kids these days so scary? Others can brag for a long time by killing pirates in seconds, but when it comes to Z-Way pirates, it is calculated according to killing pirate ships in seconds. Is it okay to kill with one move? Seeing this, Usopp also accelerated the speed of solving the pirate ship, and Luffy was also not to be outdone. Although there are only 7 pirates, the Creek pirates have more than 20 fleets, which is enough to make trouble for Luffy and Usopp for a while. Karina is not interested in destroying the pirate ships, but concentrates on harvesting the heads of those pirates who were in trouble. Among the 5, only Zoro and Kaya did not make a move. Chapter 079 Zoro's thinking changes. Sneak into the dungeon of the palace, on the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Hateful. Zoro was full of resignation, and the control range of the magic knife Chianran was currently only 50 meters in radius, which could not reach those pirate ships. Doesn't have range, doesn't fly, and can't eject like Luffy. Seeing a large number of pirates being harvested by his companions, he did nothing, which made Zoro's young mind extremely uneasy. Clenching the magic knife Thousand Blades tightly in his hand, Zoro had the idea of flying with the sword, for the first time. However, he understands that with his current strength, he still can't control Dao Qiandao to lift himself up. Wait, I remember the captain once said during a meal that Tegu's ever-changing nature is actually an extremely hard silk thread. If I can eject the silk thread like Luffy, wouldn't I be able to fly in the air for a short time? But how is this going to be used? Zoro freaked out. Ever since he learned that Tegu's ever-changing nature is silk thread, he has hardly used this knife, and it is too late to regret it now. The battle gradually came to an end. Zoro stood desolately on the shore. The dead leaves were blown to the top of Zoro's head by the wind, making him even more lonely. Without contrast, there is no harm. The partner who was originally on the same starting line unknowingly threw him away. The captain gave him devil fruit, but apart from enjoying the physical bonus, he never took the initiative to cultivate Shira fruit. The captain gave him 3 famous swords, but he only focused on the magic sword Senbonzakura and rarely cared about Zanpakutō Senbonzakura and Tegu Kaleidoscope. He is obsessed with swords and focuses on the way of swordsmanship. However, the times have changed, and there is one more craft and one more road. Otherwise, in the future, when his friends fly to the sky, burn mountains and boil seas, but he finds only 3 swordsmen to do it, wouldn't it be too shameful? Captain, look, that little green prairie has 3 knives in his hand, and maybe one of them is the peerless famous knife that shined on East Blue back then. Akin swam all the way to shore with Creek, just in time to notice Zoro and Kaya. Especially the 3 knives on Zoro's waist. Creek wiped the seawater from his face, and his eyes sparkled. Grassland green kid, quickly hand over the knife in your hand, or... Swish swish swish. The sound of sharp swords piercing flesh interrupted Creek's brazen words. 3 sword-style wolf destroyer. Zoro put the knife back into its sheath, and his indifferent tone caused Creek's pupils to shrink sharply. The next moment, a lot of blood gushed out from his body, and he died of anger. When the ghost man Ah Jin saw this scene, his eyes were tearing apart. Captain Creek was kind to him, and he vowed to repay him. However, before he assisted Creek to dominate the sea, Creek died in front of him, which made Akin nearly collapse. But the surviving rationality made Ajin jump into the sea without even thinking about it, and fled to the distance. Zoro was stunned when he saw that the ghost Ajin jumped into the sea so quickly to escape, a little annoyed, and secretly cursed himself for being too old. At the end of the naval battle, Zoro only got the head of the culprit, and the rest of the pirates were almost solved by Luffy, Usopp and Kurina. Of course, some pirates also ran away. The battlefield is so big and the battle is so fierce, it is normal for a few fish to slip through the net. Kurina was planning to use the advantage of the fallen angels to search for the remnants of the pirates, but found that an area including the Emperor Star was suddenly covered in a shadow. Everyone looked up subconsciously, and found an island with a diameter of 10 kilometers was coming towards them. Oh. The other 4 people also had pale faces, feeling a sense of powerlessness in their hearts. If such an island is smashed down, no matter how much they resist, it will be futile, right? Just as despair spread, the island gradually stopped falling, and finally settled at a height of about 50 meters above the ground. Stop. Stop. Usopp held back his tears, his face full of consternation. Luffy laughed. It seems that we are very lucky. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with luck. Zoro was speechless. Immediately afterwards, everyone noticed that a figure floated down from the floating sky island. As the figure got closer and closer, everyone could clearly see the face of the comber. The floating man has heel-length blonde hair, like a lion's mane, with a rudder on his head, like a rooster. Hey, rooster man! Luffy exclaimed. Usopp quickly covered Luffy's mouth, his heart was in his throat. Don't you see that guy is the werewolf who manipulated the island to float up? What nonsense! Golden Lion. No nonsense, the conquerors launched, and the Golden Lion directly suppressed the 5 little devils. Then used the lion fruit ability to pack people in boats to the island. When Kuina rushed to the scene, he saw only the island floating in the distance. Kingdom of Goa, Palace Dungeon. After Sikong Ye parted with Kuina, he directly used the ultra-distance ship to appear beside Sabo. Hush! Just as Sabo was about to exclaim, Sikong Ye covered his mouth. It's a pity that it was still a step late, and the guards who were patrolling outside the cell heard the movement. Who? The guards shouted, but heard no response. Immediately, holding a long gun, he slowly approached the cell where Sabo was. When he came to the cell, the guard found that there was an extra child in the cell where he was responsible for detaining the prisoners. Sikong Ye sighed, a black tentacle stretched out from his chest, piercing the guard's throat. At the same time, the nearby guards who were attracted by the shouts and fighting sounds were also dealt with neatly by Sikong Ye. As long as you kill everyone who sees me, it's a perfect infiltration. Sikong Ye withdrew his tentacles, violently released Sabo's handcuffs, and asked, what about Ace, isn't he in the same cell as you? Sabo looked confused. I don't know where Ace is, the knight escorted us to the palace and separated us. Sikong Ye's inquiry in the main ship group was fruitless. I don't know if Ace fell into a coma or didn't plan to respond. No matter what the situation is, it is not a good thing. Recalling the appearance of Sabo's father in the original book, Sikong Ye uses the Venom's ability to simulate shapeshifting to transform into the appearance of Otto, well, Luke 3. Dad? Sabo subconsciously called out. Hey, sleepy son. Sikong Ye responded back and forth. Sabo. I just yelled wrong, what the hell do you mean by responding? Sikong. Captain, what are you going to do to become my father? Sabo originally wanted to call him by his first name, but remembered that he had agreed to join the Ziwei pirates. According to the habits of other crew members, they always called Sikong Ye as the captain. Do as the Romans do. I'll take you out, Sikong Ye said with a matter-of-fact expression. Didn't you teleport in just now, can't you teleport out again? Are you stupid? If you can teleport out, why should I become your father? Sikong Ye didn't have a good air. Sabo. Can you forget about my dad? And what does that look of disdain on your face mean? Obviously I am at a disadvantage. Okay. Chapter 080 Kuina called for help in the group. Ace suddenly appeared. On the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Sikong Ye's transformed Ortelic 3 took Sabo towards the entrance of the dungeon, and seemed to think of something on the way, and quickly touched the family emblem on Sabo's body. After getting used to the darkness in the dungeon, Sikong Ye would occasionally observe the surrounding prisoners, men, women, young and old, of all ages, and did not know what had happened. Sikong Ye has no intention of releasing these people, who knows if there will be prisoners with antisocial personality hidden inside. Walking through the dark and damp tunnel, Sikong Ye brought his silly son to the entrance of the dungeon, but was stopped by the guards as expected. Who are you? How did you get in? One of the bald-headed guards sternly asked, because he was ready to call for reinforcements at any time and attack. Seeing that the bald guards were so conscientious, Sikong Ye was too lazy to talk nonsense, and took out the unique family emblem of the Altruk family from his arms. I am Altruk 3. My dog offended the royal family by committing crimes. I spent a lot of money to get my stupid son out. After Sikong Ye finished speaking, he slapped Sabo twice, looking serious. For this, Sabo could only lower his head in cooperation, feeling wronged to ultimate. But he cursed the captain frantically in his heart. It's fine to be his father, but he even started beating people. It's just too much. 807. How did you get in? However, the bald guard was not as easy to fool as he seemed on the surface, and he hit Sikong Ye's logic at once. Sabo's whole heart was in his throat. Sikong Ye just smiled and blinked. I just entered from here, don't you remember? Yes. When the bald guard looked at Sikong Ye, he was a little confused, and then suddenly said, it seems to be the case. The Mediterranean guards who were in the same group as the bald guards looked confused. What's the matter, brother, are you talking nonsense with your eyes open? Just as the Mediterranean guard was about to ask why, he saw Sikong Ye smiling at him, and then the Mediterranean guard also remembered this incident. Yes, just now, Your Excellency, you seem to have rewarded the villain with 250 Baileys. The Mediterranean guard responded with a smile. Seeing this, Sikong Ye smiled faintly, swaggered and took Sabo out of the palace dungeon, then walked into a nearby hotel and booked a double room. When the two entered the room, Sikong Ye had just changed back to his original appearance when he found that Kuina was going crazy at everyone in the main fleet. Open black lens bracket Kuina. At Jizu, are you there? At Karina, at Aya, open black lens bracket group leader. What happened? Close black lens bracket. Kuina. Captain, when I arrived at the mooring position of the Emperor Star, except for the wreckage and corpses of the pirate ship, I did not see the Emperor Star, nor did I see Karina and the others. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kuina. Then I contacted them in the group, and found that I couldn't get in touch at all. I suspected that they had been taken away. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Even Luffy, Zoro and the others were taken away. Can you be sure who did it? Close black lens bracket. At this point Sabo felt extremely guilty. If he hadn't accidentally knocked over the princess's sedan chair, Ace wouldn't have been caught. The captain wouldn't have put the Ziwei pirates in danger just because he came to rescue him. Open black lens bracket Kuina. I don't know, but when I arrived, I happened to see an island slowly drifting away in the distance. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Sabo. A flying island. Close black lens bracket, group owner. Probably the Golden Lion appeared. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Ye suddenly had a guess. The only one East Blue can bring trouble to their Ziwei pirates is Golden Lion. Don't think that the theater version of Golden Lion was defeated by Luffy and think it is weak. In fact, Golden Lion is a big pirate with the same reputation as One Piece King Luo Jia and Whitebeard. And now it is still 10 years before the original story begins. Golden Lion will only be stronger than what was shown in the theatrical version. According to the division of combat power of the system, the Golden Lion at its peak should belong to the SSS level powerhouse, but now it is estimated that it may not even have the S$ level. After all, Golden Lion has a rudder stuck in his head, his feet are broken, and he has been wasted for another 10 years, so he has been weakened too badly. But no matter how much, BEDG, the Golden Lion weakens, Sikong Ye is currently difficult to beat. Open black lens bracket Kuina. Golden Lion. Could it be the rumored great pirate with the same fame as One Piece Luo Jia and Whitebeard? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Hey, that's too bad. Close black lens bracket Sabo panicked when he heard the news. Seeing this, Sikong Ye couldn't help giving Sabo a shudder. Sometimes being too smart is not a good thing. When you encounter someone you can't win, you will be timid before fighting. It's not like Luffy, a tough tool guy. It doesn't matter who the opponent is, go up and talk first. Fighting will always be at the forefront, fleeing will always be the last for partners, and friends will always be the first to stand up when they are bullied. There really isn't a better fortress than Luffy, other than a single mind. I miss the first day of Toolman Luffy. Group owner, don't worry, I have already sold the Golden Lion information to Marine before. As long as Marine is not an idiot, he will catch Golden Lion. Close black lens bracket. Regarding the wisdom of the resourceful General Sengoku and General Staff Crane, Sikong Ye is quite at ease. If Golden Lion is in East Blue, then as a great swordsman, he will definitely be interested in the peerless swords that also appear in East Blue. As we all know, this peerless famous sword is on the ship of the Ziwei pirates. To sum up, the best way to find the Golden Lion is to borrow the peerless famous knife on the ship of the Ziwei pirates to catch the big fish Golden Lion. Open black lens bracket Kuina. Really? Close black lens bracket, group leader. I will not joke in front of my partner's safety. I was arrested by Marine before. I just used this news to exchange for Marine to let us go. Close black lens bracket. Regarding the escape of the Ziwei pirates from Vice Admiral Garp. The version released by Marine is that Sikong Ye took advantage of the night to secretly drug Marine, and then found a chance to escape. And Sikong Ye intends to promote another version within the Ziwei pirates, which is to use the Golden Lion's information in exchange for Marine to let them go. If someone wants to get to the bottom of it, after discarding Marine's version, he will also fall into the trap of his version without discovering the truth. If one day in the future the identity of the Ziwei pirates as an undercover Marine is revealed, it must not be Sikong Ye's problem. Open black lens bracket Kuina. That's how it is. But what if Karina and the others are caught by Marine again? Close black lens bracket. Group leader. It's okay, I can also get rid of the undercover agent Doflamingo, one of the Shichibukai, who was placed in Marine, and get Marine to let them go. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. It's still the captain, show off. At the same time, both of them gradually realize the importance of intelligence. Open black lens bracket Ace. If the Golden Lion kills your partner before the Marine arrives, have you even considered this? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Ace. Ace, where are you? Close black lens bracket Sabo became excited immediately, while Sikong Ye frowned. It looked like Ace had been spying on the screen for a long time. Chapter 081. Level 1 Disability Golden Lion. Ace changes his mind. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Sikong Ye's face darkened slightly. Ace hadn't spoken before. Could it be that he didn't want them to rescue him? Open black lens bracket Ace. Jizu, if what I said before happened, what would you do? Close black lens bracket. Ace ignored Sabo, and kept asking Sikong Ye. Group owner. Ace, the reason why you ask this question is because you don't know enough about Golden Lion. Close black lens bracket. Group leader. First, Golden Lion is a great swordsman. If he shows up, it is probably for the peerless famous sword that shined in the entire East Blue some time ago, and that famous sword has been in Kuinan since before. Close black lens bracket. Sabo and Ace were shocked when they heard this. The golden light that pierced the sky shocked them for a long time, but they didn't expect the owner of the knife to be by their side. At the same time, they also understood that in order to get that peerless famous knife, Golden Lion will not do anything to Luffy and the others in a short time. Group leader. Second, since Golden Lion was released from prison, he has been looking for talents, especially for juniors with great potential, so he has a certain degree of tolerance for Luffy and the others. Close black lens bracket. A few people were skeptical about this point, and Kong Yi had no intention of proving it. In the original book, Bigu Mamu recruited a son-in-law, and Kaido of the Beasts locked Kid and Luffy into the rabbit bowl. Why didn't they have the idea of recruiting talented people? Group leader. Thirdly, after the battle, 8 Volhai had a rudder inserted into the head of Golden Lion, and his brain became more and more difficult since then. Later, he broke his legs in order to escape from impelled down. Sakura 10 and Deadwood, the 2 famous knives, were treated as prosthetics, and it is not an exaggeration to say that they are first-class disabled. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Kuina immediately understood what Sikong Ye meant. Open black lens bracket Kuina. Captain, you want to say that with Kaya's healing ability, Golden Lion will definitely treat them well. Close black lens bracket. Group leader. That's right, Kaya is a godlike existence to any injured or sick person. Even if she is caught by Marine, she will confess, instead of being locked up in the small black room of impelled down. Close black lens bracket. After Sikong Ye finished speaking, he smiled, becoming more and more satisfied with Kuina's adaptability. After listening to Sikong Ye's analysis, Sabo felt that nothing leaked. If it were him. No, if he has enough information, maybe he can do it too. The group didn't wait for Ace to respond for a while. Sabo was a little anxious, and frantically told Ace. However, Ace dived with determination. No matter how much Sabo shouted, he did not respond. As night fell, Sikong Ye felt exhausted lying on the bed. After training for nearly 10 hours that day, and then encountered a series of troublesome things, Sikong Ye felt physically and mentally exhausted at the moment. Group Leader. At Kuina, you go back to Dayton's house to rest for a night, and I will find you when I rescue Ace tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Group Owner. At Ace, do you think you can escape Xiaoyi's Wuji Mountain without speaking? As long as you enter this group, I can locate your location, otherwise you think how I got to Sabo. Close black lens bracket. Group Leader. When my teleportation skill cools down tomorrow, I will teleport in front of you. Is it meaningful for you to keep silent now? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Ace. Why? Why do you have to ask me to be your partner? Is someone like me really worth having? Close black lens bracket. On the other side, in Goya Auction House, in an underground warehouse, Ace, who was trapped in a cage, almost burst into tears. Obviously, he avoided taboos in every possible way before, and he had already made up his mind not to contact Sabo and everyone in Ziwei Pirates. But now, he suddenly felt that this feeling of being cared about was really good, and it even made him dependent. But he has become a prisoner at this moment, and was sold by that night to the auction house. Even because he awakened Conqueror's Haki at a young age, the starting price was 10 million Baileys. At this time, a bloated middle-aged man walked into the warehouse, checked the auction items, and then looked at Ace, making no effort to hide the banter in his eyes. Awakened Conquerors at a young age, the king who can only appear among millions of people, but tomorrow morning you will become an auction item for all nobles to bid for. It's really interesting. I heard that you have a friend who offended His Royal Highness Sally and will be executed in 3 days. I think you will be very happy to see that scene. After all, you were implicated by him, ha 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 ha. Damn it, you are not allowed to slander my friend. Ace stared at the middle-aged man with killing intent in his eyes. However, the middle-aged man laughed unscrupulously. Ha 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 ha, do you think things can turn around now? Remember, my name is Dorkaba, come to me if you want revenge, ha 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 ha. After finishing speaking, Dolkba left the warehouse, but that magical laughter was always lingering in Ace's mind. Asking for flowers. Damn, hate. It's better to be a crew member of Sikong Ye than to be cowardly here. Even if my identity is exposed in the future and I am despised, hated and scolded by the crew, it's better than becoming an auction item. At this moment, Ace's eyes showed determination that he had never seen before. Open black lens bracket Ace. I'm at the Goya auction house and will be auctioned tomorrow morning. Close black lens bracket. The sudden confession made Sabo, who was trying to persuade Ace, almost wince. The way he looked at the captain completely changed, as if the believer had found the true God. You must know that Ace is a guy who likes to go all the way to the dark, and the captain can lead him to the light with a few words. Simply incredible. Captain, since we already know where Ace is, why don't we rescue Ace tonight? No, I'm going to sleep. Sikong Ye was muttering, but Sabo found that the captain had fallen asleep, so he was speechless, and there was no one who could answer the conversation even when he was asleep. Sabo opened his mouth, but finally said nothing. After arranging a few simple traps in the double room, he lay on another bed and fell into a deep sleep. Goya Auction House, Ace, who hadn't waited for a long time to respond, suddenly looked confused. The conversation was in full swing just now. Why did it turn off now? I'm bored in the cage. You guys are saying something. I just need to watch the screen silently to pass the time. Unfortunately, the 5 little ones caught by Golden Lion fell into a coma, Sikong Ye and Sabo fell asleep, and Kuina was originally silent, so Ace was the only one in the entire main fleet. What a miserable word. The next day, Sikong Ye and Sabo got up early and got ready to go to the breakfast shop. Didn't eat last night. Sikong Ye was so hungry that his chest stuck to his back. Sabo was not much better either. Inside a noodle shop, Sikong Ye ordered 100 bowls of tonkatsu ramen, and many nobles around were whispering when they saw this, with expressions of surprise and anger appearing on their faces from time to time. Curious, Sikong Ye concentrated the venom on both ears to enhance hearing. 100 bowls of tonkatsu ramen? Can those 2 boys finish eating? You can't be a nobleman just by looking at his rude eating? Chapter 082. When the heroic spirits are in trouble, Li Kui meets Li Gui. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. At the dining table next door, a green-haired young nobleman made a disdainful remark, which immediately caused the old white-haired nobleman to frown. Keep your voice down, and if they hear it, it may bring disaster. 2 little hairy boys, is our Luo Light family still afraid? Idiot, haven't you heard any rumors from the outside world these days? The white-haired aristocratic old man lectured with a face full of hatred. What rumor? I heard that the eldest son of the Damer family, Hygredon, beat a civilian in the street last night, and then the civilian killed Hygredon in a fit of rage. Call, this seems to be nothing. The green-haired young nobleman took a sip of the noodle soup gracefully, not taking it seriously at all. Listen to me, there have been more than 70 such things in the past few days. I heard that the civilians are very irritable now, so don't kill the May 37 inches just because of a little verbal dispute. Did the city guards all eat dry food? They didn't arrest those guys? Most of the criminals were caught, but after they were caught, they either committed suicide decisively, or fought back wildly when they were dying, as if they had taken gunpowder. Hearing the conversation between the two nobles next door, the corners of Sikong Ye's mouth turned up slightly. It seems that Kei Luo and the others have also made a lot of things these days. As long as the heroic spirits continue to make troubles, they will inevitably disperse a large number of troops in the palace, and the number of people responsible for hunting Sabo will naturally decrease. Even when the nobles were killed one after another, the crime of offending the princess was not so important. After all, the royal family was also worried about being killed by those violent civilians when they went out one day. At present, the Goa kingdom is going very smoothly, but the 5 Luffy who were captured by the Golden Lion have never responded. It stands to reason that after talking for so long, even if Luffy and the others were knocked out before, they should have woken up. Forget it, don't care about it in advance, let's focus on the present. After eating 100 bowls of tonkatsu ramen, Sikong Ye and Sabo went straight to the Goya auction house. Goya auction house, as the most prestigious auction house in the Goya kingdom, is a gold-selling cave that many royal nobles prefer to go to. There are many precious jewels or devil fruits among them. Of course, slaves are also the most popular auction items in the auction house. Sikong Ye continued to pretend to be Altruk III, and after showing the family crest to the front desk, he took Sabo into the auction venue. The entire venue seemed to be about the size of a basketball arena, enough to hold 2,000 people. In the noisy venue, there was not a single commoner, and the ugliness of those nobles were fully revealed, and Sabo frowned at the arrogance, indifference, selfishness and other performances in his mouth. It was because he felt suffocated living in such an environment that he ran away from home. Now experiencing aristocratic life again, it still makes him uncomfortable. Sikong Ye found a seat near the front and sat down, closing his eyes and taking a nap. It wasn't that he was sleepy, but that he was afraid that the nobles who knew Ortelik III would come over to chat. Although having a Sharingan makes you not afraid to talk to anyone, it's kind of disgusting to make him flirt with nobles. However, sometimes people are unlucky enough to drink cold water and get stuck in their teeth. At this moment, a middle-aged man who looked almost like Sikong Ye at the moment sat on the right seat of Sikong Ye. Sabo was the first to notice the abnormality, and when he turned his head to see the familiar figure, he broke out in a cold sweat. I don't know if it's an illusion, but Sabo feels that every time he follows the captain, he always encounters such heart-beating things. Yesterday the captain swaggered out of the dungeon of the palace with him, and today he brought him to the auction blatantly. But the captain is now pretending to be his father, and his biological father is sitting on the seat next to the captain. How exciting! After Ortelik III sat down, he suddenly noticed that the man beside him was dressed very similarly to him, and then looked intently at his face. Huh? How come there is a sense of déjà vu in the mirror? Immediately afterwards, Altruk III glanced over Sikong Ye, noticed the existence of Sabo, and immediately exclaimed. Sabo. Sikong Ye was awakened by the exclamation, and looked at the source of the sound with a dazed expression. Which immoral person put the mirror next to me? Sikong Ye muttered to himself. Sabo was stunned when he saw this, and quickly stretched out his small hand to pull Sikong Ye's clothes, reminding him that this is not a mirror. Captain, you must not be really sleepy, are you? Who are you? Did you kidnap my son Sabo? True Altruk III grabbed Sikong Ye by the collar and questioned him. The movement here gradually attracted the attention of many nobles around, and the guards standing guard in various parts of the auction house were also attracted by the noise here. When everyone saw the two Altruk eyes pinching each other, they were all surprised. But before the truth was determined, no one stepped forward to fight. As an aristocrat, as a civilized person, how can you fight? It is impossible to pull a fight, at most you will be a melon-eating crowd. At this time, Sikong Ye also realized that the situation was delicate, and immediately patted Altruk III on the shoulder. Little brother, we finally meet, Altruk III. Onlookers. Sabo. Everyone was really dumbfounded. What's going on? It's the one who kidnapped the son and the younger brother. Who are you? Ortelik III quickly let go of Sikong Ye's collar, took 2 steps back, and looked at Sikong Ye suspiciously. My name is Luke Ye, and I am the eldest brother you haven't seen in 30 years. Sikong Ye made up an identity casually. Coconut. How come I've never heard of it? Seeing that Altruk III was still skeptical of him, Sikong Ye was suddenly sentimental, and his eyes were red. Such an exaggerated face-changing speed, a proper Oscar winner. Little brother, it's normal if you haven't heard of it. After all, I was born 5 years earlier than you. When I was 4 years old, my parents took me out to sea and encountered a shipwreck. Unfortunately, I was separated. It was 10 years later when I found my way home. At that time, you were already 9 years old. Is there still a lot of things? So I left alone after seeing my parents at the end, just not wanting to compete with my stupid brother for the family property. Sikong Ye sighed lightly, with a kind of calmness that looks down on the world. Sabo. If he hadn't watched the captain transform into his father's appearance in the alley, Sabo would have almost believed in Sikong Ye's evil. Ortelik III couldn't confirm the authenticity for a while, so he asked again. What evidence do you have to prove what you said? Hearing this, Sikong Ye took out the family crest. Altruk III took a closer look and found that the family emblem was indeed real. Seeing this, Sabo secretly wiped off a cold sweat, secretly praying in his heart that his father would never recognize that this family emblem was actually his. Otherwise, this lie will not be able to continue. Chapter 083 Captain, you are so handsome, what is the name of Dad's big brother? On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Despite confirming that the crest is real, Ortelic 3 remains skeptical. It's not that he is serious, but that he should be cautious in recognizing brothers. In addition, the aristocratic family relationship is as weak as water. Even if it is true, he will not admit it. Who knows if Sikong Ye will suddenly change his mind and want to have a branch house with him? But because of the many nobles present, he couldn't ruthlessly veto it. If it was spread and used as talk, where would he put his old face? I need to go back and check the genealogy to be sure. Then, as if he suddenly remembered something, Turk 3 pointed to Sabo and asked, "Why is my son Sabo by your side?" A word hits the nail on the head. It seems that the nobles are not all idiots. And in the original book, Sabo's future achievement is the chief of staff of the Revolutionary Army, and Sabo's younger brother Staley will be the king of the Kingdom of Goa in the future. It is enough to prove that Altruk 3 still has some educational methods, but it is a pity that this guy is full of interests, status and power, and he doesn't care about the relationship between father and son at all. Don't look at the way Altruk 3 cared about his son just now. In fact, they just used Sabo as a tool to seize the throne. Fortunately, the royal family issued a gag order to the nobles who witnessed Sabo offending Her Highness the Princess. Most of the nobles only knew that a child had offended Her Highness the Princess, but they didn't know the child's name, what he looked like, or what his identity was. Although Altruk 3 was also watching the ceremony at the port, he didn't see the scene where Sabo ran into Her Royal Highness, so he didn't know that his own son was the culprit. Otherwise, he would never have any kinship with Sabo, and would even take the initiative to capture Sabo and dedicate it to the royal family. In order to win goodwill and gain benefits. In the same way, most of the nobles present also had this idea. Killing relatives righteously is not necessarily a compliment. What your son, what Sabo's, this is my son, Sikong Ye immediately made a joke, causing Sabo to roll his eyes wildly. It was fine if you pretended to be my father before, but now that my own father has appeared, you actually ask me to pretend to be your son? Your son? Ortelic 3 asked back. That's right, this is my son Outlook Sabi, who is 12 years old. Saw thing? Hey, I said, little brother, you are so excited that you even speak dialect? Sikong Ye raised his eyebrows, and then said to Sabo, Sabi, come here quickly, and say hello to uncle. Sabo. Captain, you are a real show, not only pretending to be his father, but also calling his own father brothers and sisters. It's okay to call him a brother, but let him call his father uncle. The key is to look at what kind of name this is, Outlook Sabi. When you hear this name Sabo, you want to kill someone on the spot. Ultraman is stronger than this name too. Stared at by Sabo's devouring eyes, Sikong Ye swallowed secretly. Seems like it went a little too far. Coughing lightly, Sikong Ye smiled apologetically at Outruk 3. The dog is shy, you can let go of the greeting. It's nothing, it can be seen that Kid Sabi is really shy. Outruk 3 wiped the sweat from his brow with a handkerchief. For a while, it was impossible to determine whether Sikong Ye in front of him was his own brother, let alone whether this boy named Sabi was his own son. Well, I suddenly remembered that there were some urgent matters at home that needed to be dealt with, so I left first. After speaking, Ortelic 3 turned around and walked out of the auction venue. He wanted to go home immediately to check the genealogy to confirm the authenticity. If it's true, don't know. But if it is fake, he will definitely let this middle-aged man who looks similar to him know what cruelty is. The auction hasn't started yet, why are you leaving in such a hurry? Sikong Ye called out to Altruk Ai's back. Remember, little brother, if you encounter trouble, you can come to me. Don't forget, you have a big brother named Yi. Tun. Altruk 3 staggered, feeling that he had received tons of damage, so he couldn't help speeding up his pace to stay away from the noisy venue. Hearing his captain's last words, Sabo felt a mouthful of old blood stuck in his throat, and his whole face turned purple. A nursery rhyme subconsciously echoed in his immature mind. Dad's dad is called Grandpa, Dad's mother is called Grandma. Dad's big brother is called Yi Coconut. Shut up. Sabo glanced at Sikong Ye speechlessly. It wasn't the nursery rhymes that echoed in his mind just now, but Sikong Ye sang the nursery rhymes softly in his ears. Ka. At this moment, the light in the entire auction venue suddenly dimmed, and all the spotlights were concentrated on the auction platform in the center of the venue. A bloated middle-aged man in an evening dress came out from the backstage and greeted Jin. Gentlemen, ladies, welcome to attend this auction in your busy schedule. I am the host Dorkba. Sikong Ye is actually not interested in the host's opening remarks in the auction. Only intending to buy Ace as Altok 3. Well, as Altok Ai's brother. During this period of time, the cooperation between Heroic Spirit and Shadow Soldiers allowed Sikong Ye to earn tens of millions of Baileys, so don't worry about not having enough Baileys. As for the money spent, let the Shadow Soldiers steal the money later. As 903 lots were presented and bought by nobles, it was finally Ace's turn. When the nobles in the audience saw the boy locked in the cage, they immediately became interested. Is this the kid on the bill who owns conquerors? What are conquerors? I don't know, but something with the word king on it shouldn't be bad, and it will definitely save face if you take it out for a stroll. One of the female nobles said with a look of fascination. That's right, pull out yo-yo during the day, hee at night. Several female nobles were talking, and the next moment they laughed shamelessly. When Sabo heard the remarks of the nobles nearby, his face became completely gloomy, and his dislike for the nobles became more and more engraved in his heart. This lot is for a 10-year-old boy named Ace who owns the legendary Conqueror's Hockey. What is the Conqueror's Hockey? The host, Dolpa, sputtered a lot of nonsense, and Sikong Ye dozed off after listening to it. Can he blow up the sky with just one Conqueror's? Open black lens bracket Ace. At Jizu, at Sabo, are you at the auction site? Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Sabo. Don't worry Ace, the captain and I are here, we have seen you, and we will buy you later. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Ace. Thank you. Captain. I have one more request. I want to kill that host named Dolpa on stage. Close black lens bracket. 084 Sabo's Dilemma, disrupting the auction site, on the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. On the auction stage and in the cage, Ace gritted his teeth and stared at the host's back. His murderous intent was out of control like a surging river. Group leader. Hey, heroes see the same thing. I will give you this chance later. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Ye also wanted to kill the talkative host. His partner's life and death are still uncertain, but the host forced Lai to talk nonsense. Who else will he be harassed? The bidding starts now. The starting price is 10 million Baileys, and each bid must not be lower than 1 million. As soon as the host Dolpa's voice fell, the VIP seat number 6 on the second floor directly raised the price to 50 million Baileys. Sabo silently put down the half-raised number plate, turned around and looked up at the VIP seat number 6, feeling worried in his heart. What's the matter? Call the price. Seeing that Sabo hadn't moved for a long time, Sikong Ye couldn't help but sound a reminder. The hall on the first floor of the Goa auction house is a place for nobles to bid, and the second floor's VIP seats are specially provided for royal families to bid. Sabo explained to Sikong Ye. I can tell, but what does this have to do with your bidding? The royal family's face is above everything else. Once the royal family starts bidding, only the royal family can participate in the bidding. But if the nobles intervene, it is equivalent to sweeping the royal family's face. If you scan it, you will scan it. Sikong Ye looked indifferent. But the problem is that the royal family has more money than us, and we may not be able to compete. Moreover, the royal family holds grudges. I am worried that they will trouble my family. Sabo expressed his worries. Although he didn't have much affection for the family, he still received his parents in the end. Even if he doesn't like him anymore, Sabo will definitely not do anything cheating. If the tribe died at the hands of others, he could ignore it, but he really didn't want to see the tribe being implicated because of him. Sikong Ye twitched the corner of his mouth, surprised that Sabo figured it out so quickly. The reason why he gave the number plate to Sabo for quotation is because he saw this, so he dumped the blame on Sabo. If the Ortelic family is exterminated because of him in the future, even though Sabo won't show anything, he will still have estrangement from him in his heart. Therefore, he entrusted the righteous and extermination of relatives to the unknowing Sabo. But I never expected that the little guy Sabo was so quick-witted that he only took a few minutes to see the essence. You are already a pirate. If one day your identity as a pirate implicates your family, will you have to blame yourself? Backquote. Sikong Ye said lightly. Let's get this over with, Sabo. Seeing that Sabo was still hesitating, Sikong Ye directly handed over the choice to the other party. Are you going to save your brother Ace, or are you going to protect your family? Think carefully and don't regret your decision. 27. Sikong Ye is hardly interested in the people of the Altruk family, so he does not intend to let Kuina sign a passive contract for them. Therefore, Sabo's choice is very important. If Sabo still cares about the family, then he has to carefully consider whether to include Sabo in the Ziwei pirates. Sikong Ye would rather have one less partner than one more weakness. Although it is for Sabo to think about it, in fact, there is not much time left for Sabo. After the quotation for the VIP seats number 6, the entire venue fell silent instantly, and no one dared to continue to increase the price. The host, Dolpa, felt a little pity seeing no one raise the price for a long time, and then began to drop the hammer. 50 million for the first time, 50 million. Ah, a nobleman raised the price, 60 million. Dolpa didn't care what would happen to the nobleman if he offended the royal family, he only cared about his commission. No way, there is a nobleman who dares to increase the price at this time, he will die. I heard from the host that he is a nobleman, so could it be some ignorant kid? Hey, that family is going to be in trouble now, it's really a strength sheet. The nobles in the audience whispered to each other, but there was one thing they said right, that is, Sabo's move was really suspected of cheating. VIP seat number 6 on the second floor. Prince Eleanor, who was sitting on the sofa enjoying a maid's massage at the moment, heard that a nobleman dared to bid with him, so he sat up straight, angrily opened the blinds, and looked down at the hall below. Who is it? Dare to bid with this king? I think you are tired of living. This king bids 70 million yuan, but we will see who dares to raise the price. Sikong Ye squinted at that Prince Raushizi. Tisk tisk, this figure is probably an order of magnitude bigger than Elvita. Seeing this, Dolpa flinched a little, and just about to confess Sabo, he heard someone holding up a number plate at the back of the hall. This scene completely frightened Dorkba. Knowing that His Royal Highness is angry, he dared to touch the tiger's whiskers. I'm afraid this guy doesn't know how to write death. The nobles in the audience also gradually noticed the number plate hanging high and suddenly gasped. Such actions are no longer sweeping the face of His Highness the Prince, but slapping His Highness twice in the face in front of everyone, and stepping on the head to urinate after the incident. Seeing that the host, Dolpa, hadn't called for a price for a long time, the sign holder immediately shouted himself. 80 million. Minus 1Z. The next moment, someone on the left side of the hall shouted out the price. 130 million, 170 million. 250 million. Just like that, the auction venue was completely filled with all kinds of bidding sounds, and the price soared all the way to 1 billion before stopping. The host is stupid. All nobles are stupid. Prince Eleanor is stupid too. Isn't it just a 10-year-old boy who has awakened conquerors? No matter how valuable it is, it can't reach the price of 1 billion. Prince Eleanor's idea of using money to save face was completely shattered. But this does not mean that His Royal Highness will swallow his anger. Come on, give me, Zhao. This king to arrest the guy who bid $1 billion just now. This king happened to lose $1 billion very recently, and most likely it was stolen by that guy who bid. When the nobles heard that Eleanor Ochaku took a big hat off the bidder, they immediately fell silent. I'm afraid of offending His Royal Highness the bad luck. When the 3 guards came to the hall on the first floor and saw the appearance of the bidder, they couldn't help being startled. The bidder was wearing a taupe-hooded cloak, beneath which was a funny clown face with a red nose. That's right, it's Buggy the Clown. Sir, we suspect that you are related to the 1 billion Bailey theft. Please come with us and cooperate with the investigation. The leading guard man said to Buggy in accordance with the legal procedures. However, in fact, before the leading guard man could finish his sentence, the 2 guards behind him had already grabbed Buggy's arms, leaving no room for excuses. 085 The Root of Decay. You will kick over dog food when you see it on the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Ah ha ha ha. You scumbags dared to frame Mr. Buggy, let Lousy die gorgeously. The next moment, I saw Buggy killing the guards in 2s and 3s, and then jumped out in one step, blatantly rushing to the VIP seat of Prince Eleanor. Puff. Buggy punched the prince's head, and the process was astonishingly quick. In the world of One Piece, the status of nobles is indeed very high, but the strength of most of them is no different from that of ordinary people. A farmer can find a chance to kill a noble as long as he has the courage. After dealing with the prince, Buggy turned around and put his hands on the window of the VIP seat, grinning towards the nobles downstairs. I just want to buy the boy, that's all. Why do you have to force me to sell? A short rhetorical question made all the nobles present shudder. Many aristocrats thought of the recent incidents of civilians killing nobles in anger, and they dared not speak out, for fear of causing death for themselves and their families. At the same time, they were all thinking in their hearts, could it be that those incidents were not accidental, but someone was manipulating all of them behind the scenes? Seeing that the nobles were thoughtful, Sikong Ye didn't care. Even if they found out the truth, it would be Buggy's fault. In fact, when he got up in the morning and checked the chat records and learned that Ace was at the Goya auction, he secretly arranged for Buggy to sneak into the venue and wait for an opportunity to cause trouble. The reason why he wants to use all the combat power of a heroic ship to deal with these nobles is naturally to destroy the aristocratic system. Many pirates go to sea under the banner of freedom, but in fact, freedom does not come from going to sea. But after going to sea, to a certain extent, it is equivalent to abandoning village, town, city, and nationality and becoming a free person. That is, not bound by the law. This is the first level of interpretation, and the second level is that going to sea symbolizes confrontation with the aristocracy. After all, it is the nobles who rule the country, and going to sea means not wanting to accept the rule of the nobles. To put it bluntly, I want to use my strength to prove that I can sit on an equal footing with the nobles, instead of becoming the target of the nobles' oppression. To sum up, the pirates in the world of One Piece are not actually pirates in the sense of the previous life, but a general term referring to those sea adventurers who try to challenge the dominance of the nobles. It's just that many of these so-called sea adventurers are outlaws wearing adventurer coats. A small number of pirates may have the original intention purely for freedom, but the dragon slayers eventually become evil dragons and go BEDB, astray for various reasons. And the remaining few real adventurers were also labeled as pirates, and became the existence that everyone shouted to beat, and were forced to be the opposite of marine and world government. Humans have always had a tendency to self-destruct. The nobles oppressed the common people. The civilians have deep grievances and decide to go to sea to become pirates. The pirates went to plunder the nobles again, beheaded the civilians. Then the nobles paid the heavenly gold for the protection of the world government and the marine, and more commoners either went to sea as pirates or joined the marine. Then marine swore to destroy the pirates. However, the pirates vented their grievances at marine on more innocent civilians. The chains of grievances are clearly visible. Clearly, the whole world is rotten and the whole society is on the verge of collapse. However, the culprit, celestial dragons, still lives in style, and aristocracy and slavery still stand in this sea. Even though the kingdom of Goa gave birth to strong men like Garp and Drago, it still couldn't hide its decadent atmosphere. However, the same empty night came. He will make a good world in his own way. The first to bear the brunt is those guys who eat vegetarian food among the nobles, and the second is the entire industrial chain of slavery. He can't touch the celestial dragons at the moment, so he can take the nobles and slavers first. Of course Sikong Ye knows that if the root cause is not resolved, nobles and slave traders will still grow like leeks one crop after another. But Sikong Ye is not in a hurry. The embankment of 1,000 miles collapses in an ant nest. Now he only needs to slowly build an ant nest capable of destroying aristocracy and slavery. My name is Chinliandiahua Buggy, a person with chop fruit ability. I can split myself into countless pieces, and at the same time, I can transform into anyone. Buggy was bragging about himself according to the script the captain gave him, and then the conversation turned to the dark side. I am immortal, and I am everywhere. But whoever cares about human life and cares about human relations, I will turn them into two ways. Buggy will definitely kill him. Purify. After speaking, Buggy jumped off the VIP seat, came to the auction stage, untied Ace's cage, and then left directly from the backstage. The nobles looked at each other in blank dismay, and they still had lingering fears on their faces. At the same time, many people also sensed a stormy atmosphere and hurriedly pushed the crowd away from the auction venue. In an instant, the entire auction venue was in complete chaos. After Ace got out of trouble, he directly picked up a fist the size of a sandbag and slammed the host Dorkba's face hard. Balkdor, I didn't expect that. I still have a chance to turn things around. As he spoke, Ace frantically punched Dorkba's stinky mouth. Boom. Dorkba was beaten to death by Ace several times. The only thought in his mind before he died was that Lousy's name was not Balkdo, but Dorkaba. Afterwards, Ace rubbed the blood on his clothes, took advantage of the chaos to join Sikong Ye and Sabo, disguised himself and hid in an alley. Ace reunited with Sabo, and the two immediately hugged each other and wept with joy. Therefore, Sikong curled his lips, unable to resist kicking over the dog food. If a prince dies in Gaojun, the king's army and the knights will inevitably intervene. It's better to leave this place of right and wrong as soon as possible to show affection. Sikong. Captain, what the hell are you talking about? Ace frowned immediately, and quickly distanced himself from Sabo. Sabo was also speechless. I said, Captain, can you be more serious? Also, Captain, you have arranged for a second hand and you still let me bid with the royal family. Don't you just want to trick me? Faced with Sabo's resentful expression, Sikong Ye gave an awkward laugh. He didn't expect the former to find out that he was the mastermind so quickly. Then I heard Sabo swear, Captain, don't worry, I have completely broken with the Altrock family. If someone dares to anger the tribe because of me in the future, I will not go to the rescue, but I will definitely do it for them. Revenge. After getting the desired answer, Sikong Ye smiled with satisfaction, and then the three rushed towards the terminal of the uncertain object. 2 were rescued here, but 5 were taken in over there. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't feel worthwhile. Sikong Ye murmured in his heart. The 3 of them had arrived at the terminal of uncertain objects. But at this moment, 2 knights in armor suddenly appeared in front of the 3 of them. 086 Forcing Devil Fruit. I feel like I missed 100 million on the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. That guy is the knight who captured me and Ace yesterday. Sabo narrowed his eyes slightly, staring vigilantly at the burly knight with a gun and the old knight with a sword that he had never seen before. Ace also looked solemn. That old man gave me a terrible feeling. The knight who caught you is called Doka, and his strength is about the same level as mine. That old man should be the knight commander, and his strength is probably 1 level higher than mine. Hiss. Hiss. Sikong Ye briefly introduced the identities and strengths of the 2 knights opposite to Ace and Sabo, causing the 2 little ones to gasp. Compared to the shock of the 2 little ones, Sikong Ye felt the slightly trembling hands, not nervous, but excited. I finally found an opponent who was stronger than myself, but not much stronger. Oh, I really didn't expect. Raising the spear slightly, pointing directly at Ace and Sabo, Doka smiled coldly. You 2 little fellows, one of you was imprisoned deep in the dungeon of the royal palace, and the other was sold to Goya auction house by me. It's really unexpected to me that you can escape. Immediately, Doka focused his attention on Sikong Ye. At this time Sikong Ye was still in the appearance of Altruk 3. Thinking about it, you rescued these 2 little guys. However, this shouldn't be your true face, right? Not long after Sabo was put in the dungeon, Doka received the news of Sabo's escape, and was arranged by His Majesty the King to arrest the escaped prisoner Sabo. There was no harvest all night, and Daoga's patience had been exhausted. Unexpectedly, this morning, Altruk 3 suddenly found the city guards to report the crime, saying that a middle-aged man who looked similar to him and called himself Altlick Coconut had kidnapped his son Sabo. Hearing Sabo's name, Doka immediately recalled how Ace called Sabo when he was at the port. So Doka quickly followed up the matter and obtained a lot of useful information. Just when he was about to go to the Goya auction house to hunt down the fugitive, it happened that the commander of the night was also arranged by His Majesty the King to be in charge of the murder of the prince, so the two exchanged information and tracked them all the way. Finally, the three of Sikong Ye were successfully surrounded at the terminal of the uncertain object. I have to say that Sabo is a really interesting father and son. Sabo cheated his father inside the auction house, and Altruk 3 cheated his son outside the auction house. That's right, I'm not that ugly. With that said, Sikong Ye released the simulation, returned to his white-haired and purple-eyed appearance, and chuckled lightly. Sabo. Captain, are you calling me ugly? Young man, is the death of Prince Eleanor related to you? At this moment, the sword-wielding knight commander took a step forward, full of aura. None of my business. Sikong Ye naturally wouldn't admit it. Seeing that the two people on the opposite side still wanted to talk away, Sikong Ye immediately took out the Mara fruit at the speed of light and stuffed it into Ace's mouth. The reason for forcing it is mainly because they are afraid that the two people on the opposite side will recognize the Mara fruit, which will interfere with the process of taking Ace. Ace's face turned red from choking. Sikong Ye punched the top of Ace's head, pushing the devil fruit directly into his throat. No, stop him. The knight commander's pupils shrank slightly, and Doka flashed forward in front of Ace when he heard the words and stabbed out. Pyre. The spear pierced into the body, but there was no splash of blood. Instead, strands of orange-red flames overflowed from the wound. This is Logia Mara fruit. The knight commander widened his vicissitudes of life, feeling that he had missed 100 million. No, it feels like billions are missed. If he reacted faster just now, wouldn't he be able to harvest a Logia devil fruit for nothing? At the same time, the captain of the night also remembered the identity of Sikong Ye, the captain of the Ziwei pirates, a boy who was suspected to have a large number of top devil fruits. The regretful knight commander looked straight at Sikong Ye. Thinking about how the other party took out the Mara fruit just now, secretly guessing whether the other party has other devil fruits. Just as he was thinking, he discovered that Sikong Ye took out another devil fruit that was as golden as gold from nowhere. Without any hesitation, it was directly stuffed into Sabo's mouth. When the knight commander saw this, his eyes burst into tears. Immediately, Shi Zan appeared in front of Sabo, brandishing the épée, intending to kill the devil fruit with one blow. He won't dislike even the devil fruit that drools on Sabo, as long as he's sure it's a Logia or a phantom beast, he won't hesitate to eat it. Sikong Ye had already prepared for this, and the venom armor instantly possessed him, and the actions of the knight commander were clearly visible in the venom's knowledge and color perception. Immediately, a huge shield was simulated, and it stood in front of Sabo. Asking for flowers. The heavy sword slashed on the giant shield, making a dull bang. Old man, your opponent is me. After Sikong Ye's words fell, countless tough sharp thorns suddenly extended from the giant venom shield, piercing the knight's face. Using shaving again, the knight commander appeared behind Sabo while dodging the thorns, intending to continue to attack. However, the venom of observation hockey is extremely reactive, so he didn't give the knight commander any chance to find it. During the gap between the knight commander and Sikong Ye, Sabo swallowed the golden fruit. Sabo, you go and deal with that guy named Doka with Ace. It is good. Sensing the changes in his body, Sabo agreed excitedly, and quickly moved away from the battle range of Sikong Ye and the knight commander. 0 touch of darkness. Venom's hands stretched out, like two flexible whips, whipping towards the knight commander. The knight commander dodges flexibly, with ease, and uses paper arts, one of the Marine 6 styles. Mastering shaving and paper arts, could it be that this knight commander was a Marine before? Sikong Ye was slightly surprised. It is even suspected that the knight commander may have mastered the armed color or knowledge color. Sure enough, the next moment the commander of the night flashed behind Sikong Ye, and he swung his épée sword towards Lei Yi's back. Originally, Sikong Ye didn't take it seriously, but found that the épée in the knight commander's hands suddenly turned black, and the fierce sword strokes made Sikong Ye almost out of breath. The sense of crisis and the color of knowledge issued a crazy warning to the venom. Obviously, the knight commander's blow could be withstood even through the dark energy. But the mental shock brought by the double pain was quite a burden for Venom. The Venom's pupils shrunk, and inspired by the instinctive desire to survive, he successfully performed shaving, narrowly avoiding the vital point. However, one of Tong Kongyi's arms fell to the ground. At the last moment, Venom still chose to dispel the dark energy, avoiding the impact of the mental shock at the cost of sacrificing an arm. The gecko has its tail cut off, the strong man's wrist has been cut off, the little boy is a bit courageous. The knight commander made no secret of his admiration on his old face. It's a pity that the kingdom of Goa is not a place where you can run wild. After saying that, the captain of the night was shocked to find that after the black matter picked up the severed arm and reassembled it, it gradually returned to its original state. Immediately, the knight commander only felt a burning pain in his old face. 087 Look, the hostages are safe without a negotiating partner, on the shelf. Please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Broken arm recast. Such a shocking scene was beyond the imagination of the knight commander. As if he didn't believe in evil, the knight commander launched a frenzied attack, but Venom dodged repeatedly, in a panic. Both sides were depleting their physical strength, but Sikong Ye was obviously not as strong as the Knight Commander, and soon felt a little powerless. Dark Water. Dark Moon Slash. Suddenly, Venom used Dark Water to forcibly suck the Knight Commander in front of him, and performed the slash that Sikong Ye had developed with Dark Fruit in Shimotsuki village before, and an arc moon-shaped black light instantly cut towards the Knight Commander. Boom! The Dark Moon Slash tore apart the ground, and a pile of small rubbish mountains not far away, but the target Knight Commander had already used Shave and disappeared to nowhere. This old man is tougher than me. Shave and paper arts have been cultivated to the point of proficiency. Armament hockey is not weak. No, 310 is extremely strong in both evasion and defense. How can I fight this? Sikong Ye was a little bit blind. He thought that an opponent who was one level stronger than him could make him fight heartily. However, the opponent's ability to save his life has reached the peak, and he can't beat him at all. No wonder the Knight Commander stared straight at Maramara Fruit just now, most likely because of the elemental life-saving ability. All of a sudden, the Knight Commander appeared behind the side of Venom and slashed down, causing as much damage to Venom as possible. Although the Venom can heal itself, it definitely needs to consume physical strength. Once the physical strength is exhausted, it will be the time for the Venom to lose. When the Venom was about to dodge, it heard Sikong Ye's words suddenly entered its mind. Venom, don't dodge, resist his attack. Master, are you going to use the opponent's attack to sharpen your armor? That's right, but my defense is limited and it may hurt you, Master. However, Sikong Ye didn't care about it. A little injury is nothing, I can't die. And if you don't enter the tiger's den, you won't get a tiger's cub. If you want to get a generous declaration, you have to work harder. Okay, Master. After Venom received the order, he stood in place and was beaten passively, avoiding fatal attacks as much as possible and taking more damage. Sensing the change in Venom's fighting style, the Knight Commander stopped attacking and opened his mouth again. Hey, boy, the old man advises you to catch him without a fight, maybe you can suffer less flesh and blood. What nonsense, don't you know that the villain died because of talking too much? Sikong Ye rolled his eyes, such a good tool would be too wasteful for people not to use it. The old man is not a villain, you pirates are the villains. If you want to fight, you can fight, can you be more straightforward? Actually, I don't want to fight, but my duty is that I can't let you go easily. If you can give me a Logia or a Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, I can turn a blind eye and let you leave here. Ho! Good guy. Hearing that the old man on the other side wanted Logia and Phantom Beasts, Sikong Ye felt that this man was as shameless as him. It's like a lion with a big mouth. The point is, who knows if the old man's promise is true? If it's a bad check, wouldn't he be in a blood loss? I said old man, you think devil fruit is Chinese cabbage, the two just now are the only ones I have left in stock. Regarding Sikong Ye's explanation, the Knight Commander naturally did not want to believe it. He glanced at the two teenagers Ace and Sabo who were fighting Doka not far away, and a cruel gleam flashed in his eyes. Young man, it must have taken a lot of effort for you to come to Goya Kingdom to rescue those two little guys. They should be very important to you, right? Hearing the tone of the Elder Knight and Hermaphrodite, Sikong Ye couldn't guess what the former wanted to say next. Sikong Ye wanted to refute, but the scene of him forcing the devil fruit just now has been seen by the Knight Commander. Even if he quibbles, it won't help. Old man, why do you work so hard when you are so old? Do you have a granddaughter or something? Let me know. In a word, the Knight Commander immediately blew his beard and stared in anger. But there is something even more irritating. If your granddaughter is beautiful, I will come to make an engagement in person someday, and as the captain of the Ziwei Pirates, I will guarantee that I will not treat your granddaughter badly. Sikong Ye's words were obviously in response to the Knight Commander's previous threat. If the Knight Leader dares to use Ace Sabo to threaten Sikong Ye, then Sikong Ye will definitely visit the Knight Leader's family in person in the future. It's just that Sikong Ye overestimated how much the Knight Commander attaches importance to his family. For a single Logia Devil Fruit, he would risk his family's safety. The Knight Commander ignored Sikong Ye's threat, immediately ran towards Sabo's direction. The reason for choosing Sabo is because Sabo is not a Logia-capable person, so it is easier to control. Sensing that the Knight Commander was so crazy, Sikong Ye fled in the opposite direction without thinking. The Knight Commander who was about to rush to Sabo's side saw Sikong Ye turn around and run away. The back figure didn't hesitate at all, and was instantly dumbfounded. What kind of magical operation is this? I wanted to take your friend as a hostage, but you ended up with backstabs. Sikong Ye didn't care about the Knight Commander's thoughts. The Knight Commander captures Sabo in order to coerce him to hand over the Devil Fruit. If you want to break the threat of the Knight Commander, you must either solve the core problem and protect the safety of the hostages, or simply turn the table and let the negotiating partner leave the Knight Commander's field of vision. Sikong Ye's move is the latter. Without a negotiating partner, what fish is there to catch Renjo? It's a pity to kill, and Sabo is also a prison escapee who the king named to arrest him and execute him in public. In the final analysis, the purpose of the Knight Captain to capture the hostages is for the Devil Fruit, but if he fails to get the fruit, he kills the hostages rashly to vent his anger, and it will only invite a crazy revenge from a pirate captain. As long as you have a clear head, you won't do such stupid things. If it wasn't for the husky 5.4 fruit being fed to the dog, I would have traded it with him and disgusted the old man. Sikong Ye cursed in his heart. It's a pity that the most useless husky fruit was eaten by Pochi, and the other devil fruits were given to the Knight Commander, which is an enemy. The Knight Commander, who was disturbed by Sikong Ye's strange brain circuit, finally chased after Sikong Ye after thinking for a second. The current situation is obvious. Catching Sabo does not necessarily get devil fruit, but catching Sikong Ye can definitely get devil fruit. Soon, the Knight Commander caught up with Sikong Ye again and fought fiercely with him. It was said to be a fierce battle, but in fact it was the Knight Commander's crazy output, and Sikong Ye was passively beaten. However, one of them was willing to fight and the other was willing to suffer, and they both performed heartily, but the fatigue on the faces of both sides could not be concealed. Chapter 088. Combining Dark Water and Dark Caves, pass through Windmill Village 3 times, on the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Seeing that his physical strength was about to be exhausted, Sikong Ye did not intend to continue exhausting it and decided to enlarge his moves. Planetary Devastation Hyphenation Point Crush. Silently reading the name of the move, Sikong Ye controlled Venom to clap his hands, then opened them, and a miniature black hole emerged from his palm. Immediately, Sikong Ye gently tossed the miniature black hole towards the position of the Knight Commander, and then aroused the terrifying attraction of the miniature black hole. The Knight Commander felt an extremely terrifying power from the miniature black hole. Immediately he wanted to use Shave to escape, but the attraction of the miniature black hole suddenly increased, making him unable to break free from the shackles of gravity. Sikong Ye looked at the flustered Knight Commander, and felt extremely relieved, telling you to beat him so hard just now. Do you really think that the young master has no temper? This move, Planetary Devastation Crush, does not have the ceiling effect of Planetary Devastation, but is actually a move that combines the terrifying attraction of dark water and the ability of dark acupuncture points to infinitely compress and shatter. Sikong Ye condenses the dark caves into a miniature black hole, which can greatly enhance the attraction, and all the objects sucked in will be crushed. Hence the name Planetary Devastation Broken. It is one of the few big moves that Sikong Ye currently has. Quick, stop quickly, old man. No, I surrender, please let me go. My granddaughter is 10 years old this year, just the same age as you. Don't you like my granddaughter who is 14? I can take you to set up now, baby girl. Obviously, the Knight Commander was completely panicked. He never expected that Sikong Ye would hide a big move. However, no matter how much the Knight Commander begged for mercy, Sikong Ye remained unmoved. It's not that he doesn't want to move, but that he no longer has the strength to move after using his ultimate move. The reason why he was still standing was that the venom was supporting his body, and Sikong Ye's body had already completely collapsed. Fortunately, Planetary Devastation Crush would not attract the caster himself, otherwise Sikong Ye would have to wait to die. The Knight Commander's body kept approaching the black hole, like a prey caught in a swamp or quicksand. The more he struggled, the closer he was to death. Of course, if you don't struggle, you will definitely be closer. The moment the Knight Commander's body touched the black hole, the force of compression directly twisted his body into a twist, and then the parts that were drawn into the black hole were completely shattered. No sooner had the screams sounded than a second later did they stop abruptly. The figure of the Knight Commander disappeared, and the miniature black hole disappeared without a trace after completing its task. The battle on Sikong Ye's side is over, and the battle on Ace and Sabo's side is gradually coming to an end. The burly Knight Doka is strong, but has not yet mastered armament hockey. Therefore, Ace could not be hit at all, but Ace's flame attack caused damage to Doka, completely hitting Doka with real fire. So, Doka who couldn't hit Ace kept hitting Sabo. Fortunately, Sabo is a golden man who ate the golden fruit of Paramecia. He can turn his body into gold. Although the development level is still very low, his body defense has been greatly improved. Stunned, he resisted Doka's attack. It's not just that there are dozens of scars on Sabo's body. Doka, who was playing extremely aggrieved, noticed that his teacher was killed in battle, and immediately had the idea of running away. But before running, he has to deal with Sikong Ye to avenge his teacher. In fact, he had already noticed this scene just now, and he wanted to be picky, deal with an enemy before leaving, and return to the palace to have an explanation. Click. With one shot flying Sabo, Doka rushed towards Sikong Ye regardless of Ace's obstruction, determined to kill Sikong Ye. Oh little guy, you actually killed my most beloved teacher, I won't tolerate you continuing to live. Doka laughed evilly. Venom, can you resist? Sensing that Doka was about to attack him, Sikong Ye ignored Doka and asked Venom from the bottom of his heart. Master, I can't use dark energy, I can only resist it through my own defense, and may not be able to completely resist the attack. Well, as long as you avoid the vital points. Master, I will definitely squeeze the last bit of strength from my body to avoid the vital points. Lei Yi immediately responded loyally. One blade flowed Duangfeng. At this moment, a beautiful short blue hair came into Sikong Ye's eyes. Doka also sensed Kuina. But what puzzled him was that Kuina called out the name of the sword skill, but didn't hold a knife in his hand. Doka suspected that Kuina was cheating him, so he ignored it. However, the next moment, bark, a bloodstain emerged from the chest, and the blood gushed out like money. You. How? How? Doka fell to the ground in disbelief, his eyes fixed on Kuina's hand. There is nothing there with Ben, why can it hurt him? Doka was completely dumbfounded. He didn't know that Kuina, who had mastered the Wind King enchantment, could hide the blade. Immediately, a black and white dog appeared in front of Doka's eyes. The dog walked up to him, and then directly raised its hind legs. Seeing such an insulting action, Doka immediately guessed Guzi's next move. Ace and Sabo rushed to the scene, and they all shivered after seeing Pochi's actions. Is this dog going to piss on Doka's head? But at the next moment, Pochi's actions made them realize that they were thinking too much. Pochi kicked directly towards Doka's face with its specially trained and shaved hind leg. Boom! My head exploded. Ace. Sabo. My dog brother in society, people don't talk too much. The eyes of the two little ones looking at Pochi revealed a sense of fear. South of Mount Corpo, a group of 4 people plus a husky are heading towards Windmill Village. Sikong Ye was exhausted, and Kuina moved forward with 363 on his back. As for Ace and Sabo's physical strength is almost exhausted, Sabo is still covered with injuries, so Sikong Ye very considerately declined their offer to take turns carrying the captain. Kuina, why are you here? Sikong Ye asked curiously while lying on Kuina's back. I saw the information about the Vice Fleet, and guessed that you may have encountered some troubles, so I planned to come to support you. You came in time, but I almost died. Hearing your relaxed tone, it seems that death is not a big deal. Kuina guessed that her captain must have the ability of immortality. After all, even Luffy can be revived, and Luffy's ability is bestowed by the captain, why can't the captain revive? No, it's still troublesome to die. Sikong Ye denied that he would be resurrected on the Emperor Star after his death, but the problem is that there are 3 partners of Kuina here, and they don't even know where the Emperor Star is at the moment. He can't go back by himself, let Kuina and the others find the Emperor Star slowly. Captain, where is the Windmill Village we are going to? Ace asked suddenly. Sikong Ye glanced at Ace. Didn't you see that I was having a good chat with Kuina? Do you have any insight? But in the next moment Sikong Ye understood that Ace was interrupting the enmity between the other party and Bo Shu before repaying him. 089 Buy a ship, say goodbye to the old village chief and Makino, on the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Sabo squinted his eyes suddenly. Captain, I suspect you are thinking about something bad again. Shout, you're thinking too much. Sikong Ye rolled his eyes at Sabo, and then answered Ace's previous question. We went to Windmill Village to buy a boat. The Emperor Star was towed away by the Golden Lion. Without a boat, it was difficult for Sikong Ye to buy a fishing boat as a means of transportation. As for how to track the Emperor Star, it is not difficult. The Emperor Star is produced by the system and is completely bound to Sikong Ye. He can easily sense the location of the Emperor Star. In the same way, the members of the Pojun team can also perceive the position of their respective auxiliary ships. However, it is difficult to say whether the speed of the fishing boat can catch up with the floating sky island of the Golden Lion. Captain, didn't you say that Luffy and the others are safe and sound? Why is there no news coming back? Ace asked again. Ace let go of his defenses, and began to try to integrate into the circle of Ziwei pirates, worried about the safety of his companions. They'll be fine. The one who answered Ace was Kuina. She has already used passive contracts with her companions. Once a new heroic spirit is born, she will be aware of it. Since there is no abnormality now, it means that Luffy and the others are safe. The 4 chatted all the way, and soon came to Windmill Village. Windmill Village is located on the other side of Corpo Mountain, south of Goa Kingdom, so remote that Goa Kingdom has even forgotten the existence of Windmill Village. Sikong Ye and Kuina came to Fengche Village for the second time today, but this time they did not hide their identities. Along the way, Sikong Ye met a few villagers who had met once, and the villagers would greet him with a smile and ask about Luffy's recent situation. Sikong Ye casually said a few perfunctory words, and hurried to Makino's tavern. In the entire Windmill Village, Makino is the only person he is familiar with. It was still morning at this time, and the business in the tavern was relatively deserted, with only a few regular customers. The old village head Slap, who has been doing nothing all day long, is sitting in front of the bar, talking about Luffy with Makino who is bartending. Luffy, a stinky boy, has a reward of 1 million at the age of 7, really embarrassing to our Windmill Village. Cursing and swearing, but the expression of chuckle on the old village chief's face, he obviously wanted to say that Luffy really made him proud. Seeing this, Makino smiled softly, but didn't bother to expose it. When the small door of the tavern was pushed open, Makino looked subconsciously at a group of children at the door, one of whom was Sikong Ye. Xiao Yi, why are you back? Makino was surprised. The old village head Shilapu immediately turned to look at Sikong Ye and the others when he heard the words, but he did not see Luffy in the crowd. Sikong Ye, where's Luffy? Seeing the ferocious expression of the old village chief, Sikong Ye was momentarily at a loss for words. If the old village chief knew that Luffy was in danger, he would probably explode on the spot. Luffy and the others were captured by the Golden Lion, and the Emperor Star was also taken away. We urgently need a ship to go to sea to find them. Ace directly told the truth, and wanted to buy a boat as soon as possible to save his companions. Seeing that Ace had confessed everything to the old man, Sikong Ye couldn't help but gave a wry smile, and then heard the old village chief scold him angrily. Sikong Ye, how did you brat become the captain? We handed Luffy to you, and you should keep him safe. Look at what you look like now, are you so weak that you can only sit on a girl's back? Kuina blushed when she heard the words, and subconsciously threw Sikong Ye on the ground. Sikong Ye, who felt like his whole body was about to fall apart, gave Kuina a resentful look, and waved to Pochi. Pochi, come and help me. Woof. Boki came to Sikong Ye very sensibly. Supporting Boki's shoulders, Sikong Ye stood up slowly, and then took advantage of the opportunity to sit on Boki's back. 5. I said, old man, you have to get rid of your outrageous temper, or you will lose more than you gain when the weather passes. 11. VR. Don't worry old man, there is no big problem with Luffy, if you care about Luffy, please help us buy a fishing boat, we are in a hurry. Sikong Ye took out a large bag of Bailey from the system space and got straight to the point. HMPH, Luffy better be okay, or I'll let Garp chase you to Cape Tiana. The old village head said a harsh word, and then left the tavern. Makino stepped forward at this moment, with an apologetic smile on his face. I'm sorry, Xiao Yi, the village chief is just worried about Luffy, so he speaks a little grumpy, don't take it to heart. Sikong Ye waved his hand, expressing that he didn't take it seriously, and then said to Makino, Miss Makino, do you have anything to eat here? Haven't you had breakfast yet? I'm going to prepare some meals for you now. After speaking, Makino walked into the back kitchen and started to work. For this confidant big sister, Sikong Ye actually has a good impression. It's a pity that Makino is not a potential partner, and the other party seems to prefer the quiet life here in Windmill Village. Host, there is a chance to get a potential partner card in completing side missions, which can upgrade non-potential partners to potential partners. Vice Ship Shen is more like a paradise than Windmill Village. Suddenly, a system prompt came from his mind, and Sikong Ye immediately became bewildered. He was just thinking about it, why did the system jump out to give him advice? Leaving this matter aside, Sikong Ye checked the data panel, and he needed to confirm what tasks he still needed to upgrade the hull. Otherwise, the two-masted spiral boat with only 60 cubic meters of space would not be able to accommodate so many people. The auxiliary ship may be empty, but the members of the main ship cannot always live in the auxiliary ship. God-level pirate group system. Host information. Name. Sikong Ye. Position. Captain. Combat strength. D+ level. Filled diamond skills. Longevity in boat. Yumi boat spirit. Diamond suit characteristics. Dark fruit 30%, Rinne Sharingan 15%, Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu 2%, poison quality 25%, conquerors 2%, knowledge color 3%, 6 style paper arts 8%, 6 style shaved 2%. Partner information. 7 kills. Lu Qianqianhao Fei, Zoro, Ace, Sabo. Diamond suit Pojun, Kuina, Karina, Greedy Wolf, Kaya, Usopp. Hull information. Ship type. Two-masted screw boat. Filled diamond defense. Class E. Power. Wind type. Human type. Space. 60 cubic meters. Basic. Captain's cabin X1. Anchor X1. Open deck X1. Water pump X1. Water storage tank X1. Seawater purification device X1. Solar panel X2. Filled diamond weapon. Heroic ship. Shadow ship. Room. Reception cabin X1. Kitchen X1. Bathroom X1. Double bedroom cabin X2. Mission information Uncle. Mainline. Fledgling. Diamond suit general. Recruit partners. Diamond suit achievements. Total wealth exceeding 100 million. Filled diamond achievements. The total reward has exceeded 10 million. Side quest. Cleanse the kingdom of Goa. Branch line. 30 days sailing. Sideline. Swim for an hour. Chapter 090 Prerequisites for the main mission. Makino boards the ship. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Sikong Ye first glanced at the personal panel, there are many more abilities on it, and the combat power has also been upgraded to D+ level after mastering the color of knowledge in 2 moves and 6 moves. There are currently 8 partners, except for Kaya, the strength of the rest is above E level. Afterwards, Sikong Ye focused his attention on the task column, and opened the list of prerequisites for the main task. Filled diamond recruit 5 partners, 8/5 completed. Diamond suit total wealth exceeding 10 million, 84.53 million, 10 million completed. Total reward exceeding 10 million, 7.12 million, 10 million unfinished. Complete 18 branches, 4/18 not completed. The recruitment of 5 partners and the total wealth of 10 million have been achieved, and the total reward is still 2.88 million Baileys away from breaking 10 million. The current 3 branch tasks are relatively difficult for Sikong Ye, and only 3 appear at a time, and the current task will not be refreshed until the current task is completed. In Sikong Ye's view, the system's side missions are like information prompts for character training in many games. It will remind players where to gain experience and where to earn gold coins in order to cultivate game characters. Only when the corresponding training tasks are completed to a certain extent 233, the system will start the next stage of the main task. There is no rush to offer a reward. It is estimated that after the Golden Lion incident ends, R's Way Pirate's bounty will definitely usher in a leap. Sikong Ye thought to himself, what really bothered him was the side missions. Whether it is cleaning the kingdom of Goa or sailing for 30 days, it will take time, and the only task that can be completed quickly is swimming for an hour. He had wanted to wait until the side effects of the devil fruit wore off before going swimming. But continuing to procrastinate would waste the opportunity to refresh the task, greatly slowing down the time for Sikong Ye to complete the main task. And during this period of time, he trained during the day and slept with the Seastone bracelet at night. He still didn't feel how much the side effects were eliminated. It is estimated that it will take years to completely eliminate the side effects. If you wait for the side effects to disappear before going swimming, then wait until the year of the monkey. It seems that we can only start with the task of swimming. Not long after, Makino cooked a table of delicious meals and brought them to the bar. Xiao Yi, let's eat something. Looking at the 4 dishes, 1 soup, and a bowl of white rice on the counter, Sikong Ye had a strange look on his face. This meal might not be enough for him alone. But he didn't ask Makino to add more food. After all, he was a kind treat, so he couldn't eat up his family's wealth, could he? So he took all the food by himself, making Ace and Sabo's eyes shine. Especially Ace, who hasn't eaten or drank water for nearly a whole day, can't help but bleed out when he sees the food now. Noticing Ace's eloquent appearance, Sikong Ye couldn't bear it, and decided not to eat alone. So he put all the ribs in the rib soup into his own bowl, and handed the soup bowl to Ace. Hungry? Let go of your stomach and drink. In the future, you will have a mouthful of soup as long as I have a mouthful of food. Ace, I'm so moved by what you said, shit. But Ace finally picked up the soup bowl, drank it in a big gulp, and handed it to Sabo, who licked his lips after drinking it all. Brother, from now on, as long as I, Ace, have a sip of soup, you will have a bowl brush. Tun tun tun. Sabo was dumbfounded on the spot. Why do I not want to be your so-called brother? Wow. Seeing that Pochi was hungry, Sabo threw the remaining bones of Sikong Ye to Pochi. Don't worry, Boki, even if I don't have food or soup, I'm sure you'll bite me. You have to grow up quickly and fulfill Dayton's promise to take good care of Ace. Pochi. Wow, woof, woof. Seeing Pochi nodding repeatedly, Ace suddenly wanted to eat dog meat. I don't know the difference between dogs that have eaten devil fruit and ordinary dog meat. Shouldn't it taste the same as devil fruit? Hiss. Ace shivered suddenly. Kuina, who was sitting on the BECJ bar chair and shaking her feet, saw her friends fighting, and suddenly burst out laughing. Seeing this scene, Makino also showed a smile on his face, thinking that Luffy's life in the pirate group is also very happy. Thinking of Luffy, Makino couldn't help but worry about Luffy's safety. Xiao Yi, are Luffy and the others really alright? Well, it's alright. Xiao Yi, are you going to save Luffy and the others now? Well, let's go as soon as we have a boat. Xiao Yi, I am a little worried if I can go to sea with you to save Luffy. You want to go to sea? Sikong Ye was a little stunned, and you still want to save him with your small body. The oil bottle is about the same. No, I'm just too worried about Luffy. If it brings you trouble, forget it. Makino quickly explained that she had watched Luffy grow up since she was a child, and had long regarded Luffy as her own younger brother. Although Luffy is very strong, but after all, he is only 7 years old this year. Now that Luffy is in danger, how can Makino feel calm? If she hadn't just seen Sikong Ye's face so pale and weak that ultimate could only lie on Kuina's back, she wouldn't be asking now. Seeing the worry lurking in the depths of Makino's eyes, he remembered the system's prompt and agreed immediately. It's okay, since you're going to go out to sea, then come with us. Sikong Ye nodded, and continued to eat to replenish energy. Don't worry, Sister Makino, we will definitely rescue Luffy. Although Ace and Sabo are not very clear about the relationship between Makino and Luffy, they also gave a very sensible word of relief. So several people started to help Makino pack some necessary luggage, and after packing, Sikong Ye threw the luggage into the system space. Just at this time, Slap finally helped Sikong Ye buy a boat, and by the way, used the remaining money to buy a lot of supplies. None of that bag of Bailey's went into Slap's pocket. Led by Slap, Tong Kongye and others came to the port to inspect the fishing boats. This is a wooden sailboat about the size of the Emperor Star, and the facilities are relatively simple, and it is completely incomparable with the Emperor Star. However, due to the form, we can only make do with it. Makino, what are you doing? Isn't this nonsense? Seeing that Makino was about to board the boat, Slap stood up to stop him. I want to save Luffy. With your strength, won't you add trouble to Sikong Ye and the others if you go? I know. But I'm really concerned for Luffy's safety. Makino's eyes were reddish. Seeing this, Slap wanted to persuade Makino to change his mind. After all, if he got on a pirate ship, a reward would be offered if he was not careful, and he would really only be a pirate at that time. Okay, old man, I will protect Miss Makino. Sikong Ye directly interrupted, and then the venom-possessed Makino and jumped onto the fishing boat. Under Slap's astonished gaze, he drove the fishing boat slowly away from Windmill Village. Chapter 091 New news from the main fleet. Karina led the crowd to save themselves. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. As the fishing boat left slowly, Slap was completely messed up in the wind. A pirate is a pirate, and they steal people even if they don't agree with each other. You young people don't talk about martial arts, and bullying me is an old man who has no power to restrain a chicken. Seeing Sikong Ye being such a rascal, Slap was so angry that he wanted to call Garp on the spot, and asked Garp to chase the Zwei pirates to Cape Tiana. But when he thought that the purpose of Sikong Ye's trip was to save Luffy, he immediately dispelled the idea, and finally sighed helplessly. Fishing boat, on deck. Ace Sabo looked at the vast sea with a strange face. This was their first time to go to sea, and they seemed extremely excited. Sikong Ye glanced at Sabo's excited expression inadvertently, and suddenly remembered that Sabo also went to sea at this age in the original book. It's just that he was rewarded with a cannonball by the Celestial Dragon's aristocrat as soon as he went to sea. He ended his pirate dream and became the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. Unlike Ace, when he was still in his mother's womb, he had a mother who loved him. In order to avoid the searches of many marine and world governments, Ace was born after nearly 2 years of hard work. Afterwards, he was escorted by Grandpa Marine and taken care of by his adoptive mother Dayton, allowing him to survive to adulthood. After going to sea at the age of 17, the journey was smooth, wandering on a deserted island and picking up Mara fruit, did not encounter celestial dragons in Sabayati Archipelago, and did not encounter Kaido in Wano Kuni. In the end, Ace was blessed by the Whitebeard pirates, and experienced a father-son relationship that he had never experienced before. In the first 20 years, it is not an exaggeration to say that Ace's fate is Kakuzu, the master of the One Piece world. His luck is so good that it is heaven-defying. It's just as if all the luck of a lifetime has been compressed in the first 20 years. Since the pursuit of Blackbeard Teach, everything has gone wrong, and instead he has become the most humble of the Master Brothers. It's almost noon, let me go and make you some food. Makino suddenly said that she knew that her strength was limited and she couldn't fight the enemy, so she automatically took care of the housework. Sikong Ye nodded without refusing. Without the gourmet food maker and Ant Ban, the position of chef would be vacant, so it was a coincidence that Makino recommended himself. Not long after Makino entered the kitchen, the four of Sikong Ye received a large wave of group chat messages, and their eyes lit up immediately. Open black lens bracket Karina. At group master, Captain, we have been kidnapped. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Usopp. At group master, Captain, come and save us, we are trapped in a dark room. I'm claustrophobic, things will die if I stay in the dark for too long. Open black lens bracket Luffy. I'm so hungry, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. I feel dizzy. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Karina. I suspect that we were given some kind of drug, and I was also a little dizzy. I don't know how long I was in a coma. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kaya. I don't feel dizzy, but why do I also fall asleep? The horse charm should make me invulnerable to all poisons, right? Close black lens bracket. On the fishing boat, Sikong Ye was also incredulous when he heard Kaya's doubts, but he soon thought of the reason. Group leader. At Kaya, you must have been stunned by other factors first, right? Open black lens bracket Kaya. It seems so. At that time, I saw a big rooster falling from the sky, and then I completely lost consciousness. Close black lens bracket. Hearing Kaya's description, the corners of Tong Kongyi's mouth couldn't help twitching. God, what a big cock. It's a purebred golden retriever. No, a purebred golden lion. Group leader. That's Golden Lion, he should have released Conqueror's Haki, which made you fall into a coma. Although the horse charm has a passive effect, it needs to be awake to take effect. Open black lens bracket Usopp. At Jizu, when will you come to save us? I feel that the little black house shakes from time to time. It may be an earthquake. I'm afraid we will be buried in the ground. Close black lens bracket. Earthquake. Where did the earthquake come from on Sky Island? Sikong Ye pondered, guessing that the earthquake Usopp mentioned should be the aftermath of the battle, that is to say, the Golden Lion was fighting someone. As for the target of battle, there is a high probability that it will be Garp. After all, only Vice Admiral Garp can beat the Golden Lion in East Blue right now. In an instant, Tongkong Yeki understood the ins and outs of this incident. After Golden Lion captured Luffy and others, he also exposed his lair. Garp led his troops to pursue and fought fiercely with Golden Lion, so Golden Lion did not have time to deal with Luffy and others. Worried about Luffy and the others escaping, he arranged for his subordinates to give them sleeping pills, which made Luffy and the others fall into a deep sleep. Then consider it in reverse. Luffy and the others are now sober, which means that the situation is very bad for the Golden Lion pirates, leaving them no extra time to take care of Luffy and others. Sikong Ye sensed the position of the Emperor Star. Asking for flowers. Point 0. At the current speed, it will take about 3 days to arrive. Group leader. We are on our way to rescue you now, but judging from the current distance and speed, it will take 3 days. Close black lens bracket. Group leader. You can only save yourself at the moment. I now order Karina to be the commander of the 5 of you, and you must obey her arrangements. Close black lens bracket. Hash. In the next few minutes, Sikong Ye roughly simulated Luffy's current situation and the situation they might encounter, so that Karina can accurately control the situation. After everything was finished, Makino prepared a sumptuous lunch. After Sikong Ye and the others finished eating, they immediately started training crazily. Floating Sky Island, Golden Lion Land. In an unknown dark room. After Karina got used to the darkness in the room, she began to fumble for the exit, and at the same time asked Luffy and others to help. Several people spent 10 minutes, and soon found the door handle on a wall. Karina twisted it twice and found that it couldn't be screwed. It was obvious that someone had locked the door from the outside. Let me do it. Usopp's fingertips suddenly burst into bright fire. Zoro's mouth twitched when he saw the fire. Why don't you find some fire if you have fire? I'm blasting, so I can't use it as a torch. After Usopp finished speaking, there was a bang, and a huge hole was broken in the door. The faint light from outside shone into the house, and everyone realized that they were locked in a secret room, and various research equipment were displayed in the secret room. The fire light dancing at my fingertips is your unchanging belief in this life. Usopp blew on his index finger, posing in a pose he thought was handsome. Boom. Karina punched Usopp on the head. Could it be a little more formal? After teaching Usopp, Karina led several people up the stairs until they reached the end, and found that there was still a locked door. Usopp wanted to show off again, but Zoro beat him to it. One knife flow, draw the knife and cut, the rain. Swish swish swish, hundreds of sharp blade fragments bombarded the stone gate, directly tearing open a hole. The 5 little ones walked out of the room through the opening, feeling the warmth of the sun shining on their bodies, and they suddenly felt like they had survived a catastrophe. Chapter 092 Fight, Luffy and Karina's amazing move. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. Rumbling. Boom. The entire floating Sky Island shook for a while. As soon as they walked out of the secret room, the 5 of Karina saw smoke and dust billowing in the distance, and 2 figures were vaguely fighting fiercely. The rocks shattered and the water flowed backwards, just like a doomsday scene. For a battle of this level, one of them should be the Golden Lion, and the other, according to the captain's guess, is probably the Vice Admiral Garp. What? Grandpa is here too? Luffy was startled suddenly. Every time he thinks of the scene where he was beaten to death twice when he met his grandfather last time, he still has lingering fears. Fortunately, the captain strengthened the rubber fruit into a devil fruit, otherwise I would have died a long time ago. Luffy thought in his heart. However, what Luffy didn't know was that because of his immortal body, Garp made a serious effort to try the limit of the devil's physique. It's no big deal to kill my 397 grandson twice by mistake. While Vice Admiral Garp is fighting Golden Lion, let's go to Emperor Star first, and search Golden Lion's treasure house by the way. Karina flicked her forehead bangs lightly, showing a determined look. Phantom Thief Karina is online. I'm hungry. Luffy touched his shriveled belly, feeling weak. Zoro, Usopp and Kaya's stomach growled simultaneously. Seeing this, Karina found that she was also a little hungry, so she decided to have something to eat before going to find the Emperor Star and the treasure. They avoided the battlefield where Marine and pirates were fighting all the way, and after wandering around the Golden Lion's palace for a few laps, they managed to find the kitchen. Luffy and Usopp gorged themselves as Karina and Kaya serve up plates of barely edible food on the table. Karina and Kaya also filled their stomachs before entering the kitchen and cooking a lot of food to fill Luffy's stomach. I miss the life on the Emperor Star. Karina sighed with emotion. I am used to eating all kinds of delicacies produced by the gourmet machine, and the taste of other dishes obviously does not catch Karina's eyes. Kaya also echoed on the side. The Emperor Star is the most comfortable ship I have ever seen, even the special merchant ships of parents are not as comfortable as the Emperor Star. By the way, Kaya, do you feel that something is missing? Well, I don't know, but I also feel that something is missing. Floating in a certain jungle on Sky Island, Zoro is running with all his might. And behind him is a giant octopus. Open black lens bracket Zoro. At Luffy, at Karina, at Usopp, at Kaya, where did you guys go? Lost in the blink of an eye, are you all road idiots? It seems that I need to tie each of you with a rope, so as not to lose direction. Close black lens bracket. While Zoro ran away desperately, he still didn't forget to complain in the group. This group of pig teammates get lost every time, he can't take it out in the open. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Hey, am I lost? Why don't I know? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Usopp. Zoro, obviously you got lost by yourself. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kaya. Ah, I remembered, it seems that I haven't seen Zoro since just now. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Karina. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. Usopp, stop lying. Close black lens bracket. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. After chatting in the group for a long time, Zoro didn't know where Luffy and the others were, only that they had found the kitchen. This made Zoro envious. Obviously a bunch of road idiots, why is luck so good? Feeling more and more angry, and with the pursuit of the giant octopus behind, Zoro was completely angry. Stopping to run away, Zoro drew out 3 knives, a cold light flashed in his eyes. 3 blades Wolf Slayer, 3 swords Ryu, Tiger Hunting, 3 swords Style Demon Slash, 3 swords Tornado, 3 swordsmanship God Avoids Falsehood. Zoro immediately used Wuji Slash, a set of combos to cut the giant octopus into several sections. Looking at the lifeless giant octopus, Zoro thought for a while and decided to light a fire on the spot and roast an octopus to fill his stomach. However, when Zoro was grilling octopus legs, a sickle mantis appeared in front of him, and a sickle slashed on his chest. If Zoro hadn't dodged in time, the blow just now would have killed him. It's really endless. Zoro took a bite of the medium rare octopus leg, and ate it half full. Then he grinned. It happens that I haven't found a chance to fight before, so let me have a good fight now. Palace backyard, kitchen. When Luffy was full, Kurina took the other 3 to the center of the palace to participate in the battle between Marine and the pirates. She needs to create more shadow soldiers to find the location of the Emperor Star and the treasure house. And Luffy also needs to devour a large number of pirates to enhance his own strength. Kill Yanlong Star. Usopp happened to see a group of pirates gathered together, and immediately displayed the power of Dragon Blast. A lifelike fire dragon flew out from the Usopp slingshot and shot directly at the group of pirates. The violent flames exploded in the center of the pirates, and the pirates' bodies were instantly torn apart. Regardless of the danger, Luffy rushed forward to devour those stumps and broken arms. Every time he devoured a part of flesh and blood, Luffy felt a little stronger. The feeling of becoming stronger made Luffy ecstatic. Obviously, the strength of Golden Lion's subordinates is extremely good. However, Luffy's act of devouring the pirates, as well as the intoxicated look on his face, made the surrounding marines and pirates shudder. It's scary, this guy actually eats people, and he seems to be enjoying it. I recognize him. Luffy, the leader and deputy captain of the Zwei Pirates' 7 kills, a devil fruit-capable person, possesses an immortal physique. I suspect that this Luffy has the ability to revive because he ate people, and as many people as he eats, he has as much insurance. The bold guess of a Marine non-commissioned officer made many Marines around feel reasonable, and subconsciously nodded. On the other side, Kurina is also harvesting the unconscious or seriously injured pirates on the battlefield, cutting out all the shadows. Due to the limited time, Kurina can only make a passive contract and obtain 40% of the original owner's strength. However, the strength of these 5.1 pirates is much stronger than that of Buggy, Loya, and Lita, and even if they are only 40%, they are stronger than the previous shadow soldiers. This little girl seems to be Kurina, a phantom thief who just joined the Zwei Pirates. She was silhouetted just now. Isn't that 7 warlords of the sea used up Moria's ability? A marine who accidentally discovered Kurina's actions exclaimed, immediately attracting everyone's attention. It is impossible for 2 identical devil fruits to appear at the same time in the world. Look at the pair of black wings on her back, it is probably a phantom beast devil fruit. That's right, but where did the Zwei Pirates get so many phantom beast devil fruits? Is this the 4th one? Zwei Pirates are simply the developers of Eudemons, devil fruit. When they grow up, they may be more worthy of the name than Beasts Pirates. Chapter 093. The situation changes rapidly, and Luffy Usopp suffers. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. In the middle of the battlefield, a marine suddenly suggested to his superior, Mr. Bogart, should we take down the Zwei Pirates right now? No. Our main task this time is to destroy the Golden Lion Pirates, and the Zwei Pirates have a grudge against the Golden Lion Pirates, so they can help us share the pressure and leave them alone. Whoever dares to meddle in their own business and cause unnecessary trouble to Marine, resulting in the failure of the final mission, don't blame me for the military law. Bogart, who was wearing a gray suit and a Marine cloak, glanced fiercely at the Marines present, and warned in words. After Bogart finished speaking, all the Marines on the field became more honest. Puff, puff. Indigo, the blue explosive head, appeared on the battlefield with very tasteful steps. Indigo stared at Luffy, who was devouring pirates madly on one side of the battlefield, his eyes were shining with unprecedented brilliance. Immediately, he came to Luffy's side in an instant, and injected a tube of medicine into Luffy's artery. According to previous research, the cells of the Straw Hat Boy have extremely strong resilience and can 100% withstand the highest concentration of IQ medicine. For other creatures, this bottle of medicine is poison, but the Straw Hat Boy can absorb 140% of the medicine's effects, enhance cell activity, and even have a great chance to stimulate the body's potential. Calico. I'm really curious to inject the medicine into the Straw Hat Boy, what interesting changes will happen? Luffy. Usopp noticed Indigo's sneak attack at the first time, and immediately fired a finger pistol flame bomb at the latter. Subsequently, because of Rhinitis bombs covered all the dodgeable positions of Indigo. Facing Usopp's attack, Indigo threw out the chemical agent he developed and collided with the flame bomb in midair. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions came, and a burst of red and green smoke spread between Usopp and Indigo, and the Marines or pirates fighting around subconsciously stayed away from this area. When the smoke dissipated, Indigo was still standing there unscathed, while Luffy, who had been injected with the drug, was hot as magma, rolling and screaming on the ground crazily. Ah! Luffy's painful cry spread throughout the palace battlefield. Kurina and Kaya were attracted by the screams, and they couldn't help being shocked when they saw Luffy's tragic situation. Luffy seemed to be thrown into magma at this moment, and his skin and flesh began to ignite spontaneously. Luffy has an immortal body, so his life should not be in danger. Although rationality tells Kurina Luffy that she has an immortal body and will not really die, but she is still worried about Luffy's current situation, so she flies towards Luffy with Kaya. Usopp saw that the Indigo couldn't be taken down by Flame Bullet, so he no longer cared about Luffy's safety, and directly launched a large-scale attack. Super Killer Flame Dragon Star. Crack, crack, a small flame can't turn up any waves. Seeing the Berserk Longyan, Indigo not only didn't feel the slightest bit of fear, but even thought of teasing him. Of course, the hands kept moving, and he took out a large pile of unknown potions from his pocket, and prepared to throw them at the flame dragon. However, before he threw it out, he found that his body could not move. In midair, Kurina flew Kaya over Indigo, and her shadow was reflected on Indigo. Holding the seal with both hands, it is the shadow binding technique. Seeing Yanlong getting closer and closer, a hint of panic finally appeared on Indigo's face. Before he could beg for mercy and admit defeat, the next moment his entire body was enveloped in an explosion. Rumble. A tsunami blast blasted away all the debris in the palace, and Indigo's body was blown to the lower half, obviously dead. At the center of the explosion, Luffy was still struggling in the flames and shouting in pain. Whenever he was about to be swallowed up by the burning sensation, the devil's physique would appear to heal his body, thus forming a balance. However, the pain felt like a heart-wrenching poison, which made Luffy want to die. After Usopp and Kurina rushed to Luffy, they immediately controlled Luffy and Kaya quickly treated Luffy. However, the horse charm only healed Luffy's current injury, and the medicine injected by Indigo was not cleared. As long as Kaya stopped the treatment, the injury continued to deteriorate. What's going on here? My horse charm should heal everything. Seeing that Luffy was still in pain, Kaya became more and more anxious. Hearing this, Kurina thought of the IQ research mentioned by the captain before. Maybe that potion didn't do Luffy any harm, but rather good, so your healing ability won't work on him. Hearing this guess, Wei Ya was taken aback. After thinking about it, it seems to make sense. The horse charm can only repair negative states, but not positive states. The only thing she can do now is to use the horse charm to soothe Luffy's pain. Don't worry, Kaya, Luffy is very strong and will definitely survive. After Kurina reassured, she began to guard against the pirates around her. Usopp continuously releases the Flame Dragon Star to deter those pirates who are about to move, but his physical strength is on the verge of exhaustion and is about to reach the limit. Kurina, I can't hold on any longer. Take Kaya and fly away. I'll stay behind. Usopp didn't mention Luffy. After all, Luffy has an immortal body, and no one can kill him. Just when Kurina was about to propose other plans, she saw a figure falling from the sky quickly, crashing through the roof of the palace, and hitting Usopp directly 153. Quote. Being hit by a falling object from a height, how unlucky would it be? And many more. This figure is very familiar, it is the last time I had a face. Usopp. With a cry of surprise, Kaya dragged Usopp out from under the golden lion, and hurried to heal. Seeing the misplaced bones and broken internal organs in Usopp's body, without her, Usopp would have only a few dozen seconds to survive. Fortunately, the horse charm is powerful enough, as long as you don't die, you can be cured. With bursts of green light transmitted into Usopp's body, the broken internal organs began to repair, and even the misplaced bones returned to their place little by little. Soon, Usopp recovered from a near-death state to a severely injured coma. This scene was seen by the golden lion who climbed up from the pit, and without thinking, he grabbed Usopp's neck and held it high. Kaya, who couldn't reach Usopp, suddenly panicked. Give Usopp back. Gia ha ha ha. Golden Lion was amused by Kaya's words, and said sideways, if you want to save your companion, then treat lousy. Kaya dare not refuse. But he didn't directly agree to Golden Lion, but secretly glanced at Kurina. Kurina pondered for 2 seconds, then nodded. 094 backhand is a report, Kurina retreats. On the shelf, please subscribe and ask for a monthly pass. People under the eaves had to bow their heads. Even if Kurina refuses, it will just make Usopp's sacrifice in vain. On the contrary, by agreeing to Golden Lion's request, they can temporarily get a way out, and with Kaya around, Golden Lion will not make things difficult for the Zwei pirates. Of course, the above are all situations that the captain has simulated before, and Kurina just acted according to the captain's deduction. Squat down, let me touch your head. Kaya looked timid. In fact, using the horse charm to heal does not have to touch your head. Aya's move is purely out of anger, but Golden Lion hurt her companion. Golden Lion is not hypocritical, just sit on the ground and let Kaya treat him. Kaya put her little hand on the golden lion's Mediterranean hairstyle, inexplicably feeling like touching a lion, but Kaya didn't dare to show it. Green light covers golden lion's head and 2 legs. These are the parts of golden lion with the most serious injuries. As for other skin injuries, Kaya ignored them. Soon, golden lion found that the rudder on his head was squeezed out by the newly grown flesh and bones, and the lower legs of Sakura and dead wood were also dug out. This scene completely shocked the golden lion. Originally, he just wanted the little girl in front of him to heal his skin trauma, but in the end, he directly healed all the injuries he left more than 10 years ago. This. God of medicine. Many pirates around saw this scene and cheered for their captain's recovery. On the contrary, Marine had a bitter face. Bogart has followed Garp for many years, and he knows the horror of the golden lion, and he also knows that even if all the Marines swarm up, it will be useless, so he dare not step forward to interrupt the healing of the golden lion. When the head and legs were completely repaired, golden lion felt his strength returned. Although it will not reach the peak, it is much stronger than before. It's just that the old wound has healed, but the new wound hit by Garp hasn't healed yet, but when he saw that Kaya had completely passed out, he didn't force it anymore. After defeating Garp, come to this little girl for treatment. Golden Lion thought to himself, and then stepped into the air, borrowing Lion Fruit's ability to gallop towards Garp's direction. Kaya. Seeing that Kaya fell into a coma, Karina called twice with worry on her face, but Kaya never showed signs of waking up. Then looking at Luffy who was still wrapped in pain and Usopp who was seriously injured and unconscious, Karina was completely lost. 5 people walked out of the secret room, and now 1 is lost and the other 3 are unconscious. With her current strength, there is absolutely no possibility for one of them to come back. Open black lens bracket Karina. At Jizu, there have been some accidents on my side. Then, Karina briefly described her previous experience, seeking help from the captain. East Blue, on the deck of the fishing boat, Sikong Ye stopped his training and fell silent. The 3 of Kuina-A's Sabo all surrounded Sikong Ye, suppressing a nameless anger in their hearts. One of their partners was painfully injected with an unknown medicine, one was almost crushed to death by the Golden Lion, and the other was forced to treat the Golden Lion and collapsed into a coma. No matter what the situation was, the people on the fishing boat felt like a volcanic eruption of anger. But they all know that now is not the time to be impulsive. They are still 3 days away from floating on Sky Island, and they can't quench their thirst. What needs to be considered now is how to get Karina and others out of trouble. Sikong Ye also didn't expect that the little friends who had just woken up not long ago were defeated in the Golden Lion's territory one after another. Open black lens bracket Zoro. Where are you? Looking for you. Close black lens bracket. Before Sikong Ye responded, Zoro spoke. However, in the face of Zoro's support, neither Karina nor Sikong Ye took over. Let Zoro go to save people. It is estimated that people are already cold when they arrive. To be honest, Sikong Ye really didn't take into account that his partners were so unlucky, 1 lost and 3 fell into a coma, who would believe it? This should be placed in the League of Legends, and Sikong Ye's backhand as a report. For example, in a 5-player qualifying match, 1 teammate ran to the jungle and never came back, and the other 3 teammates lost the internet at home and lay dead directly. If it were Sikong Ye, you probably smashed the keyboard. Even if the god tier comes in this game, it can't be taken away. Group Leader. At Karina, it stands to reason that Kaya cured Golden Lion, and Golden Lion's subordinates should not do anything to you. And you still have Shadow Soldiers, so it's difficult to support it for a while, right? Open black lens bracket Karina. Golden Lion did not restrict his men from attacking us, and left directly after being healed. Those pirates have gone crazy, it doesn't matter if we are valuable to Golden Lion or not. Close black lens bracket. Karina. Except for the Shadow Soldiers placed in the Kingdom of Goa, I added up the previous Shadow Soldiers and the Shadow Soldiers made on the spot to less than 200, but due to limited strength, it can't last long at all. Close black lens bracket. Karina felt helpless. She could summon the Shadow Soldiers on the Emperor Star to escort them, plus the shadows that were scraped just now, it would be less than 200. Moreover, the birthplace of the Shadow Soldiers is the Shadow Ship, which is the Emperor Star, and it will take some time for the Shadow Soldiers created later to rush over. Fortunately, the Emperor Star is floating above, otherwise she might not be able to wait for the support of the Shadow Soldiers. D2. Good guy. I'm straight up a good guy. Could there be a worse situation than this? But Sikong Ye still has a backup. He can also use the ultra-distance ship to reach Karina in an instant, but in this way, Kuina and the others will not be able to find the position of the Emperor Star. But if Karina really encounters very difficult troubles, then he has to go if he doesn't go. Group Leader. At Karina, can you fly away with Kaya and Usopp? 0. Open black lens bracket Karina. I'm afraid it will be very difficult. Currently, my wings can barely carry 1 person. If there are too many people, I won't be able to take off smoothly. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Group Leader, then you can take Kaya and leave together. As for Luffy, don't worry about him, he won't die anyway, Usopp will let the Shadow Soldiers find a way out to send him away. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Ye thought over and over again, and planned to use the super distance ship to send it later. If Karina's side is still holding up, he can use it until 12 o'clock at night. As soon as 12 o'clock passed, the super distance ship delivery skill would cool down again, and if there was any problem with the fishing boat, he would be able to come back in time. On the other side, floating on the Sky Island, straight to the center of the hull. According to the captain's plan, Karina flew to high altitude with Kaya on her back and flew directly to the east. According to the news from the Shadow Soldiers, the Emperor Star is 50 kilometers away from the east of the palace. As long as you find the Emperor Star and open the gate to enter the Shadow ship, she and Kaya will be completely safe. At that time, even if the Golden Lion comes, they will not be found. Chapter 095 Karina's Change, Don't Treat Me Like a Dog. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Karina's flight speed was not fast, while slowly flying towards the Emperor Star, while attracting the Shadow Core off the field. The Shadow Core is wrapping Usopp in the opposite direction of fleeing to Karina, which is the weakest link in the encirclement. Sir Bogart, the short marine, who was admonishing before, saw that the Zwei pirates were in decline, so he proposed to arrest Karina and others. But was directly interrupted by Bogart. We don't have any extra troops to deal with the Zwei pirates. Didn't we already emphasize it just now? Can't you understand people's words? The short marine turned red when he heard this. Bogart's move was suspected of favoring the Zwei pirates, and the short marine had already made up his mind to go back to naval headquarters to participate in Bogart's book. However, what he didn't know was that Bogart looked at him with a flash of killing intent, as if he had decided to let the marine, who had repeatedly advised him, sacrifice a heroic sacrifice, on the battlefield. Dozens of pirates chased after Karina for a certain distance, so they gave up and continued to fight with Marine. There were also a few pirates who hacked and killed Luffy several times to vent their anger, but they died without a problem after discovering Luffy's immortality. The battle continued. This is a war that stands at a height of 10,000 meters. The pirates were led by Golden Lion, and the Marines were led by Vice Admiral Garp. This battle started for an unknown period of time. Thousands of people were killed and injured on both sides, and the battle was extremely tragic. The five-person team headed by Karina, with an average age of less than 8 years old, joined the war with high spirits. However, in just an hour, the unmanned team was completely defeated, and they announced their exit early before there was a wave of waves in the war. Fortunately, they all survived. Whether their future will be devastated or reborn from Nirvana, it is not known for the time being. Karina, who carried Kaya back to the Emperor Star, was filled with self-blame and aggrieved. If it weren't for her overestimating and overconfident in the strength of herself and her companions, she wouldn't have entered the battle directly. If I had acted in a low-key manner at that time, I would have grown up first, and after accumulating 500 shadow soldiers, I would not be so passive when I got involved in the battlefield. Karina opened the portal, walked into the dark shadow ship, and carefully placed Kaya on the bed. I'm sorry, Sister Kaya, it was my carelessness that caused you to fall into a coma. The captain clearly told me the development of the situation, but I failed the captain's wishes. The slightly red and swollen eyes were full of firmness and determination. Although there was bad luck this time, she never thought she could blame the illusory luck on it. If she hadn't been careless, no matter how bad her luck was, she wouldn't have collapsed at the beginning. Captain, if it were you, you would definitely prepare several backup plans in order to face any unfavorable emergencies. At this moment, Karina realized. She didn't become smarter, but her thinking became more active, her layout became more comprehensive, and she acted more cautiously. Karina stopped for half an hour, when a shadow soldier suddenly walked into the portal, and Usopp was seriously injured and unconscious on the back of the shadow soldier. After a brief bandage, Karina ordered the shadow soldiers to lift Usopp to the sofa and guard Kaya and Usopp. And she herself left the shadow ship, spread her wings and flew to the palace alone. Sunset on the West Hills. East Blue, on a fishing boat. After dinner, Sikong Ye watched Karina's whereabouts from time to time in the group chat, and knew that the latter had already targeted the Golden Lion's treasure. In this regard, he did not stop. In the original book, Golden Lion has been doing IQ research for 20 years, plus there are a group of powerful pirates under his command. If it is said that Golden Lion has no family background, Sikong Ye absolutely does not believe it. If Karina can really find the Golden Lion's treasure house, maybe it won't be a big problem if the total wealth exceeds 100 million. However, this interest alone is not enough to appease Sikong Ye's anger. Although Usopp's almost being crushed to death has nothing to do with Golden Lion, it should be caused by the old guy Garp's miss. But it is unforgivable that a cute little girl like Kaya fell into a coma because of saving the Golden Lion. It stands to reason that Kaya cured Golden Lion's brain and legs, not to mention how grateful he is, but at least he should arrange his men to protect Kaya's safety. In the end, the guy didn't fart, and went straight to fight Garp. What an ungrateful, wolf-hearted, stupid bastard. It is true to say that he is stupid, even if it is not for repayment. Kaya's healing ability alone is qualified to protect Golden Lion well. This matter is also my fault for misjudging Golden Lion's attitude. It seems that the original work cannot be trusted, especially the theatrical version. In the theatrical version, Golden Lion gave enough tolerance when recruiting Nami, and let Luffy and others go several times, otherwise Straw Hat crew would have been wiped out early. However, after contacting him for a while, Sikong Ye realized that Golden Lion is a pure big pirate. Although he is eager for talents, in the end, Song is using his subordinates to collect cases. With Golden Lion healed from his old injury and other minor injuries insignificant, then Kaya's presence will obviously become dispensable. If it weren't for Karina's Shadow Core and flying ability, it is estimated that this wave of Sikong Ye will fall if he doesn't personally go out. Wait until midnight. Sikong Ye, will definitely make the entire Golden Lion pirates pay the price. Sikong Ye's purple eyes exuded a terrifying aura that had never been seen before. Rinne Sharingan, master of life and death, destruction and creation. But at this moment, Sikong's eyes only had death and destruction. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, at 11:30. Seeing that there was still half an hour left before 12 o'clock in the morning, Sikong Ye came to the deck alone. The moon is dark and the wind is high, the sky of murder and arson. Captain, are you going to use teleport to go to that floating sky island? At this time, Kuina sneaked onto the deck. Why, don't you want me? Can you be more serious? Believe it or not, I will use my big move to hack you to death. Kuina clenched her small fist and punched Sikong Ye hard. Sikong Ye smiled and didn't dodge. When I'm not around, these guys will be handed over to you to manage, and if you encounter a danger that can't be solved, contact me in the group immediately, and I can come to you in an instant. Don't be so disgusting. Kuina felt goosebumps all over her body, and looked at Sikong Ye with disgust. Sikong Ye chuckled and disappeared on the deck of the fishing boat the next moment. Captain, you must bring your companions back safely. Kuina murmured softly, and then glanced at the husky who was taking a nap on the deck. Pochi, watch carefully at night. After speaking, Kuina went back to her room to rest. After being fed a mouthful of dog food, I still have to watch the night. You simply don't treat Ben Wong like a dog. Which normal dog needs a night watch? That's obviously a human job. Chapter 096 Sikong Ye awakens Luffy and masters new features. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Floating Sky Island, the center of the palace. The battle between East Blue Marine and Golden Lion pirates continued, but both sides gradually showed signs of fatigue. The two camps began to rest methodically in batches in order to ensure that the fighters have sufficient energy. The battle between Golden Lion and Garp is the key to this war. If the two of them don't end, then the people below can only bite the bullet and prepare for a protracted war. Not many people noticed that beside a pile of corpses on the battlefield, there was a small figure lying sound asleep at the moment. This figure was Luffy, who was left behind by Karina. The clothes on his body were already in tatters, but the skin all over his body was smooth. The straw hat on the head was stained with a lot of blood, but fortunately it was not damaged. At this time, Luffy has completely integrated the SIQ medicine in his body. However, due to the intense pain and the large amount of consumption caused by continuous self-healing, Luffy fell into a lethargic state. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared beside Luffy. Looking around, there are mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Marine and pirates are still fighting frantically, shouting and killing loudly. Hundreds of miles away from the palace, there will be a series of shocks from time to time, which means that the battle between Garp and the Golden Lion is still going on. A Marine accidentally noticed Sikong Ye's existence. Marine, who has long been red-eyed, doesn't care if the latter is a child or not, as long as he doesn't wear Marine uniform, he is an enemy. Puff. Venom tentacles protruded from Sikong Ye's body, instantly killing the Marine. There was no hesitation or pity in his eyes. He has a manslaughter index, whoever dares to trouble him will not live. Clap clap. Sikong Ye picked up Luffy and immediately slapped Luffy with a few big mouths, but the latter still showed no sign of waking up. There is barbecue. He yelled in his ear, but Luffy still didn't respond. Seeing that the barbecue attack was ineffective, Sikong Ye was a little bit blind for a while. If there is Kaya's horse charm, maybe Luffy can wake up instantly, but now Kaya herself is still in a coma. Luffy's injuries have healed, but the pain has taken a toll on his spirit, causing him to fall into a coma. If you want to wake up Luffy, you have to wait for Luffy to sleep for a few days until you wake up naturally, or you can only use external force to force Luffy to wake up. Regardless of whether it is a demon physique or a horse charm, its owner falls into a coma. Even if it can passively heal itself, it is impossible to wake itself up. Because in the self-judgment mechanism of the devil's physique and the horse charm, coma or deep sleep do not belong to the category of injuries. Hey, wait, Venom also seems to have the ability to heal itself, and it can attach to anyone and everything. It's hard to say whether it can be cured, but Venom can communicate with the host's mind. Maybe it can wake up Luffy. Doing what comes to mind, Sikong Ye ordered the poison to possess Luffy. The black liquid transferred to Luffy with Sikong Ye's right hand, and the next moment, Luffy's whole body was covered with Venom armor. Owner. Venom control. Luffy slowly stood up straight, the straw hat on his head looked a bit out of place. Sikong Ye suddenly found it funny. Venom, can you wake up Luffy? Master, Luffy's body is normal and does not need to be healed, but I can try to communicate with Luffy and awaken Luffy's consciousness. Sikong Ye nodded, and killed an approaching pirate. Venom was not idle, communicating with Luffy's spirit, and at the same time participated in the ranks of killing pirates. Through Urgoyu Sharingan, Sikong Ye keeps hypnosis surrounding the pirates, and then directly hacks to death with Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu. The swiftness of his actions and the decisiveness of his killings have amazed many people who saw them. Those Marines who originally wanted to avenge their comrades who died under Sikong Ye's hand subconsciously took a step back. This Nima is simply a humanoid harvester. Why don't those pirates resist? It's like losing their minds. I don't know, could it be Devil Fruit's ability? It's just a devil. The other one is the devil. A Marine exclaimed, pointing at the Venom Luffy. All the Marines, including some pirates, all looked sideways at the Venom Luffy. Venom Luffy is like a devil crawling out of hell at this moment, stretching out his tentacles to grab a pirate, and then gnawing off its head bloodily. Finally, he threw his whole body into his mouth, and continued to look for the next target. Not to mention other people, even Sikong Ye himself felt insane in this scene. Could it be that I usually don't give Venom the chance to eat people, and now I've just left my body and started to show my true nature? But Sikong Ye was not annoyed. After all, this is the habit of Venom. Demons need to devour biological energy to enhance their own strength. Venom also needs to devour biological energy to maintain a sense of satiety. The two complement each other, which is quite a match. The battle lasted for 5 minutes, and Venom's voice came again. Master, Luffy is awake. It was said that Sikong Ye let the venom return, and when the black liquid left Luffy, Luffy showed a bewildered expression in front of Sikong Ye. Hey, why are you here? I'll come over and have a look. Do you feel anything unusual in your body? I didn't feel anything. Luffy scratched his head, and suddenly felt that his body seemed to be different. Luffy clenched his fists, and a bearded pirate in front of him saw that the venom that was going to eat him suddenly turned into Luffy, and was still in a daze. .00. I just want to strike first. Seeing this, Luffy punched the bearded pirate directly. Looking at the limp little fist, the bearded pirate looked disdainful. And with the length of Luffy's arm, you can't hit him without moving your feet. However, the next moment, the bearded pirate's eyes popped out, and he flew upside down. Seeing this, Sikong Ye opened his mouth wide in surprise. In his eyes, Luffy's fist didn't touch the bearded pirate at all. Instead, a powerful airflow erupted from his fist, which sent the bearded pirate far away. Seeing this, Sikong Ye quickly opened the system panel to check Luffy's properties. Partner, Monkey D. Luffy. Position, Keisha Intern. Strength, C+ level. Characteristics, Rubber Fruit 30%, Demon Body 20%, Armor 2%, Conquerors 8%, Knowledge Color 3%, Armed Color 3%, at 2%. Seeing the changes on Luffy's attribute panel, even with Sikong Ye's determination, he couldn't help but gasp. Conqueror's Haki and Marine 6 styles are all mastered. It is estimated that Luffy devoured some pirates with Haki and 6 styles, so that he could initially master the full set of Haki and 6 styles so quickly. The point is, Luffy actually has an extra characteristic that he doesn't even know about: great power. Chapter 097 Simulate a Rubber Physique, Inject Venom. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Could it be the effect of the SIQ potion? This surprised Sikong Ye. I thought it would be good to just inject a bottle of potion, which can enhance Luffy's physical fitness in all directions, but unexpectedly, he also obtained new characteristics. This is the only possibility that comes to mind. The SIQ potion could have exploited the latent power of living beings. In the theatrical version, Billy the Duck acquired the characteristic of electric discharge after injecting the medicine, and obviously also obtained special abilities under the action of the medicine. Although it is only a special case in the theatrical version, after a certain chemical reaction between the medicine and the body cells of the devil's body, as long as the medicine is effective enough, success is inevitable. As long as the potion can't kill Luffy, it will inevitably bring Luffy's strength to a higher level. And Luffy's rubber fruit and demon body constitution are inseparable from chi, so it is understandable to awaken the characteristic of controlling chi. Not to mention the devil's physique, the world of Dragon Ball is a world of manipulating chi. The second gear, third gear and fourth gear of rubber fruit are all related to chi. For example, when the second gear is used, the pores of the whole body will emit pink steam, the third gear is equivalent to blowing air into the bones, and the fourth gear is blowing air into the muscles. It is enough to see that the relationship between chi and rubber fruit is very close. After Sikong Ye figured out the principle of the new feature, he couldn't help but sigh with emotion. It really didn't take long for Luffy to surpass him. And it surpassed a whole level. However, when Sikong Ye checked his attributes along the way, he found that his combat power had unknowingly increased to CE level. System, what's going on here? He couldn't remember any significant improvement during this time. Returning to the host, the Venom physique has the characteristics of simulating deformation, and successfully simulated the rubber physique when it was lodged in Luffy's body. What the hell? Sikong Ye was startled, but then he also remembered that Venom had indeed acquired Spider-Man's physique in the Spider-Man movie. It is equivalent to the cloning of the host's ontology capabilities. Now Venom simulates the rubber physique from Luffy, which means that he can play second gear, third gear, fourth gear or even more like Luffy. Luffy should not only have a rubber physique, but also a devil's physique, right? The devil's physique is produced by the system. It is unique and cannot be stolen or backed up. The system's answer came again. Now Sikong Ye understood that as long as it was not produced by the system, he could let the Venom simulate a clone. This is equivalent to one more devil fruit. No, he will master countless devil fruit. Although the actual controller is Venom, Venom is completely loyal to him and cannot be stolen or backed up, which means that he will always have a parasitic beast with infinite devil fruit. Of course, rather than lacking excess, those junk fruits Sikong Ye will not let Venom simulate them, just pick some stronger devil fruits. In this way, regarding my own devil fruit, I can consider varieties that Venom cannot imitate. Immediately, Sikong Ye thought of the SIQ drug that Golden Lion was developing. If Venom can also drink a bottle of that potion, will it become stronger? At this moment, Sikong Ye's heart was moved. Even Luffy can take it and gain a trait, there's no reason Venom can't. Do what you think of, but you need to clean up the battlefield before that. Luffy, you should clean up the corpses on the battlefield first. If someone makes trouble, just beat him up. Protecting the environment is everyone's responsibility. If the corpses are not disposed of quickly, it is easy to breed plague. Sikong Ye knows that both Marine and pirates are busy fighting, and only he and Luffy can lend a helping hand to contribute to the world. Okay. Luffy readily agreed, and happened to feel a little hungry. Although the phagocytosis ability absorbs the energy in the organism, it also has a certain effect of satisfying hunger. In this way, there is an extra god of killing and a scavenger on the battlefield. Sikong Ye is responsible for cleaning up the pirates, while Luffy is dedicated to eating Heisei. However, under Sikong Ye's instructions, Luffy did not do anything to Marine's corpse, and always gave those Marines who died heroically a chance to be buried in their hometowns in horse leather shrouds. Moreover, Sikong Ye doesn't want to have conflicts with Marine at the moment, so naturally he doesn't provoke them if he can. As for those who took the initiative to seek death, Sikong Ye was also not used to it, and resolved all of them neatly. In this way, the battlefield at the palace gradually became spacious, unlike before where there was almost no place to step down, and the two camps were fighting on the corpses. When all the pirates are swallowed by Luffy, there are thousands of corpses, which also makes Luffy's combat power jump from C+ level to B level. Again a big rank above Sikong Ye. So Sikong Ye didn't kill the pirates anymore, and took Luffy to the research room with the weak firelight and moonlight. Along the way, I encountered many pirates, all of whom were easily beheaded and devoured by Luffy. There were also a few brain-twitching Marines who were killed by Sikong Ye. The two went all the way, and asked a pirate on the way, and only then found the direction of the research room. Walking into the research room, the room is dark at the moment, and there is no one. It is estimated that they have taken refuge in other safe places. Sikong Ye didn't care about those researchers, but walked into the research room to check various potions and reports. About half an hour later, Sikong Ye found several bottles of SIQ potion. It's just that I can't be sure how effective these medicines are compared to what Luffy injected before, but no matter what, as long as the strength is strong, it doesn't matter if the effect is weaker. So Sikong Ye directly injected all the SIQ medicines into the poisonous liquid without saying a word. Swallowing these medicines alone is not because Sikong Ye is selfish, but this kind of medicine is only suitable for demon physique and venom physique. Injecting other partners might lead to unexpected consequences, otherwise, why did Golden Lion only use this medicine on animals instead of injecting it on his pirate men? In an instant, severe pain raged and exploded in Lei's fluid. Master, it hurts. Even with the ability to withstand the venom, I still feel extremely strenuous. Obviously, the efficacy of the medicine has reached the upper limit of the venom, reaching the verge of collapse. Venom, hold on, it will be fine soon. Sikong Ye comforted Venom silently. Time goes by little by little. Soon the sky was getting brighter, and Sikong Ye opened his eyes the moment the sun just showed its head. Who I am? Where am I? What am I going to do? After a series of quality tests, Sikong Ye finally remembered that he had passed out because of injecting venom yesterday. Venom. Venom. However, no matter how Sikong Ye shouted, there was no response from the venom, and it was very likely that the venom fell into a deep sleep. Chapter 098 Find Zoro, the fourth Conqueror's owner. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Venom strikes, which is not good news for Sikong Ye. After all, most of his strength is on the side of the venom. Without the venom, it is equivalent to losing nearly 70% of his strength. However, Sikong Ye's mentality was very stable. He checked his own data panel and found that the venom quality had developed to 50%. Obviously, the medicine injected last night was successful. In addition, the development of other characteristics has more or less increased by 2 or 3 percentage points, and the combat power has also increased from C level to C+ level. It seems that the medicine developed by Golden Lion is still very good. If it weren't for the setting of the theatrical version, which can only enhance the strength of beasts, it would probably become a sought-after item among all major forces. Sikong Ye looked around and found himself lying in the center of the research room, and Luffy fell asleep not far from him. This guy slept all day yesterday, but he is still sleeping now. With a helpless smile, Sikong Ye kicked Luffy twice. The snot bubble burst. Luffy sat up in a daze, and scratched his head. Morning, Captain. It's not too early. 14. Luffy, your task today is to try to devour all the members of the Golden Lion pirate group. As for the Golden Lion, if you are defeated by your grandfather, then take the opportunity to swallow it. Maybe your strength can directly jump too big. What about grades? Sikong Ye looked calm, but Luffy's eyes lit up with the ambition he showed. Okay, Captain, where shall we go next? Let's split up next. You just need to drill where there are battles, and pick those weak pirates to attack. I plan to find Zoro first. It is not difficult to find Zoro, and the super distance ship can let Sikong Ye find Zoro in an instant. But he didn't intend to use it in finding people, but kept it for a rainy day. What's more, looking for Zoro is only one of the goals, and Sikong Ye doesn't plan to find beasts along the way to find out whether they are qualified to become battle pets. Golden Lion raised a large number of wild beasts on the floating sky island, and there might be pets suitable for pet ships among them. Sikong Ye didn't want to miss it. I still want to fight side by side with the captain. Luffy drooped his head, looking listless. Luffy, who is only 7 years old, has finally become dependent on Sikong Ye, who is a few years older than him. Just like in the original book, Luffy wants to play with Ace and Sabo with a shameless face, but now Sikong Ye replaces Ace and Sabo and becomes Luffy's most trusted brother. Next time, I still have a lot of things to do. Sikong Ye simply explained, heading towards the forest to the north. Entering the forest, Sikong Ye braved the thorns and thorns all the way, opening his white eyes from time to time to check the surrounding environment, looking for traces of Zoro's existence. Every time he encounters a beast, he will stop to see if there is a prompt box above his head. When encountering beasts with good meat quality, they will also kill a few and store them in the system space. As for those beasts that are stronger or have unpalatable meat, Sikong Ye can hide as much as he can. There is no need to waste too much energy. For a whole morning, Sikong Ye searched from the forest north of the palace to the forest on the west side, and finally found some clues. In this forest, broken or cut trees can be seen everywhere, among which there are still many remains of wild beasts lying quietly in place, with knife wounds all over their bodies. One of the remains of the six-legged blue tiger has dense scars piercing through the body with swords, which are obviously the work of Zoro's Magic Sword Thousand Blades. Sikong Ye instantly determined that Zoro had appeared in the forest on the west side. Following the trail all the way, after only an hour, Sikong Ye came to a plain on the south side of the palace. Looking around, you can see more than 300 small horned monsters with red manes in the center of the plain. The monster is extremely violent, and with its ultra-high-speed displacement ability, it moves as fast as a cannonball. Sikong Ye tentatively named it Rapid Red Bull. At this moment, Zoro is in the middle of the herd of swift red bulls, surrounded by swift red bulls. But Zoro didn't show any fear on his face. He dodged frantically and counterattacked from time to time, but because of the fast speed of the Red Bull, it was difficult for Zoro to hit the target for a while. Staring at the swift and fierce Red Bull around him, Zoro's face was ferocious, and his eyes were bloodshot. That appearance, very much like Shira who crawled out of hell. Sikong Ye, who saw this scene, was also shocked by Zoro's viciousness. In Zoro's current state, it is obvious that his body has already reached its limit, and Zoro's actions are all supported by willpower. Group Leader. At Zoro, why didn't you contact me when you were besieged by a herd of beasts? Open black lens bracket Zoro. If I even ask for help in such a small scene, how can I pursue my own way of swordsmanship? Close black lens bracket. Seeing that Zoro was still planning to continue fighting, Sikong Ye suddenly stopped talking. Instead, he stood quietly in an open space and became a crowd of onlookers. In the middle of the herd, Zoro was panting heavily, with a look of disastrous defeat on his face. His bloodshot eyes were always observing the surrounding movement. Once he sensed the rapid Red Bull attack, Zoro's body would gently dodge the attack like a blank sheet of paper. This scene is somewhat similar to a bullfight. Apparently, Zoro learned about paper arts in extreme combat. Dodging the attacks of several swift Red Bulls one after another, Zoro disappeared instantly, and slashed towards the direction where the herd was most densely packed. The moment the smoke and dust rolled up, a terrifying energy erupted from the knife. In the next moment, a bright bloodstain appeared on the front row of the swift and fierce Red Bulls, and the whole body was divided into 20. The unlucky swift and fierce Red Bulls were cut off with the iron hard bull Kakuzu. The sword energy extended backwards, killing many 133 swift Red Bulls who were staring at the rear. Extremely fast hand speed, domineering sword posture and flowing sword skills are like a beautiful picture full of artistic atmosphere. Slashing iron. Sword chi. The realm of swordsman. Obviously Zoro has reached the realm of swordsman. Not only has he mastered cutting iron, but he can also release sword energy, and his combat power has jumped to sea level. However, this is not over yet. Zoro exudes a terrifying aura, and the atmosphere of the entire grassland suddenly becomes particularly depressing. That feeling, unmistakable, is a 1 in a million conqueror's haki. Sikong Ye was shocked. Unexpectedly, there was a fourth Conqueror's owner in Zwei Pirates. Unexpected. Reasonable. Even though Zoro doesn't show Conqueror's haki in the original book, 99% of the people would not believe him if he didn't. After all, a character who can aim for the world's #1 swordsman is not as worthy as Conquerors. Although it is said that Conquerors is the aptitude of a king, and only the strong who are unwilling to be inferior to others are eligible to awaken, but it is just talking. Sengoku, Empress, and Doflamingo are all Conqueror's owners, but in fact Sengoku is still called by 5 elders. Empress Hancock chose to join Shichibukai, and Doflamingo is attached to Kaido of the Beasts. Obviously, owning Conquerors has nothing to do with one's position. Chapter 099 Zoro's Ultimate Explosion, 9 Sword Style and 1000 Sword Style. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. On the grassland, in the middle of the herd, Zoro's body suddenly turned into the form of Ashura with 3 heads and 6 arms. But out of the 3 heads, only one holds the Zanpakutō Senbonzakura, and only 2 of the 6 hands hold the knife. Obviously, Zoro used the ability of the Shira fruit, and didn't inspire ghost energy like the original book to give him 2 transformed knives. 9 Blades Ashura Mo Chinshin. This is Zoro's powerful move in the Shira state, spinning and rushing into the enemy's formation. The upper body and the knife rotate sideways to attack, and the 1000-blade fragments of the magic knife wrap around the body and rotate wildly. Puff puff, puff puff. Zoro rampaged like a top, smashing all the nearby swift and fierce Red Bulls into pieces, comparable to a humanoid self-propelled meat grinder. Zoro's 9-sword sword technique is very similar to the sword technique used to kill pacifists in the Sabayati archipelago in the original book. Sikong Ye remembered that move seemed to be called Ghost Chi-9 Swords Flow Ashura Magic 9 Flashes. But at this time Zoro has not yet mastered the ghost energy, and is mainly attacking with thousands of fragments from the 1000 blades of the magic knife, which naturally turned into a magic flash. However, this is not over yet. I saw an extremely crazy sound suddenly came from the center of the spinning top on the battlefield. 1000 blades, tornado, random rain. Hoo. Adoltot. When the wind suddenly picked up, a tornado suddenly appeared on the grassland, and all the swift and fierce Red Bulls present were swept into the air. Sikong Ye hurriedly backed away. He didn't want to be caught in the tornado. The tornado continued to rotate, and the wind became stronger and stronger, growing to a height of 100 meters. The scene here immediately attracted the attention of many marines and pirates who were fighting. Similarly, it also attracted the attention of Golden Lion and Garp who were fighting fiercely. Is that a tornado? A battlefield 10 kilometers away from the tornado. A 3-kilometer radius was a mess, with potholes everywhere, as if a meteorite had just hit the earth. In this horrific battlefield, 2 shirtless men stood opposite each other, and it was Vice Admiral Garp and Golden Lion. Vice Admiral Garp was covered in wounds, his chest and back were full of hideous scars, and even his cheek was scratched with a deep scratch, and one arm was hanging down unnaturally, obviously fractured. On the other side, Golden Lion's condition was not much better, but even so, Golden Lion still had a cigar in his mouth. Although Kaya healed Golden Lion's head and legs, the wounds from Garp's previous blows were not healed. Afterwards, he fought with Garp for a day and a night, but his injuries were more serious than Garp's. Almost all of his ribs, sternum, and femur were fractured to varying degrees. His whole body was bruised and purple, and there was not a single piece of intact skin. His internal organs had been subjected to heavy punches one after another, and he had begun to bleed internally. This posture seems to be the end of the battle. However, the physiques of the people in the world of One Piece are extremely evil. Even at the end of the battle, it can explode beyond the peak of combat power, and even as long as the will is still there, even if the physical strength is exhausted, it can stimulate infinite potential. Proper little strong life. Regardless of how embarrassed Golden Lion and Vice Admiral Garp are, if they really fought, it would take at least 5 or 6 days to decide the winner. Just when the two sides separated for a short rest, Golden Lion happened to notice the tornado in the distance, and was so frightened that he wanted to run away immediately. But when he sensed the situation over there with his knowledge, he couldn't help but startled. A boy less than 10 years old actually has the ability to release sword energy. If he grows up, he will definitely be the pinnacle of a great swordsman. It is even possible to reach the realm of Juggernaut or Sword God as rumored before. Hey, those two brats, could it be Sikong Ye and Zoro from Zwei Pirates? Golden Lion sensed a familiar face, and immediately remembered the reward order of the Zwei Pirates, which impressively recorded many crew members of the Zwei Pirates. At the same time, it also reminded the Golden Lion of the little girl Kaya, coveting Kaya's heaven-defying medical skills. Call out. The next moment, the Golden Lion used its shaving and lion fruit abilities to quickly move towards the direction of the tornado. He intends to capture a hostage, ask Kaya's hiding place, and then use the hostage as a threat to push Kay to give him treatment. In fact, during this day, Golden Lion has long wanted to seek treatment from Kaya. However, the inflated self-confidence after recovering his strength made him ignore the value of Kaya and focus on Garp. After Golden Lion found out that he could only draw with Garp after recovering to his peak, he missed Kaya's healing ability all the time. But no matter how he searched, there was no sign of Kaya. Now seeing Kaya's companions, the lion decided to repeat the old trick. Shiki, you're not a man if you run away. Garp is chasing after him, but without the support of lion fruit, moonwalk is always slower than golden lion. HMPH, this aggressive method is useless to me. I'll fight you for 300 rounds after I heal the wounds all over my body. Stop dreaming, Shiki, you think I'll let you find a chance to heal your injuries. The two chased and fled, and soon came to the vicinity of the tornado. Golden Lion saw Sikong Ye's lonely figure at the edge of the grassland at a glance. Meanwhile, Sikong Ye also bet on the lions. The corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Why is this guy staring at him? Looks like this is the first time he and Golden Lion met, right? Venom. Are you there, Venom? Sikong Ye, who knew he was about to suffer, crazily called for Venom. However, Venom fell into a deep sleep. No matter how Sikong Ye shouted, it was useless. Thinking of the abilities that I can still use, besides Rinne Sharingan, only Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu is left. Unfortunately, he can't yet Shikai against Zanpakutō Kyoka Suigetsu, and the Rinne Sharingan's effect on Golden Lion can be described as minimal. Hai Nuo Li, but now there is no other way, only to gamble. Jia ha ha ha, white-haired boy, you are the captain of the Zui pirates, right? Golden Lion's voice came from far away. Sikong Ye was unmoved, and first glanced at Zoro's position. Seeing that the latter had lost his consciousness and his body stopped spinning after performing Thousand Swords Flow, Tornado, and Chaos Rain. It's just that the instinctive consciousness is still controlling the magic knife Thousand Blades to rotate around itself, making the tornado show no signs of stopping. Those swift red bulls had spiral patterns in their eyes in the tornado, and they fainted completely, and then they were cut, torn, and finally cut into countless pieces by the debris hidden in the tornado. Seeing that Zoro won this group of beasts, Sikong Ye was proud of Zoro from the bottom of his heart. See, this is my crew. Even if he is only 9 years old, even if he faces a group of beasts who can use razors, he can still win. One word, cow. Chapter 100 Venom Awakens, Sikong Ye fights Golden Lion Shiki. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Si Guo Gao Song Wen Quan Shinjie Lan Di San Song Rakuten Travel, Ri Ben Xing Nei Ling Xian Wang Shang Lu Xing Shi. After confirming that Zoro was okay, Sikong Ye turned his attention to Golden Lion. The distance between the two was only 300 meters, and the Golden Lion could come to him in the blink of an eye. Sikong Ye was also unambiguous, Goyu slowly started to turn. Even if the illusion has little effect on the Golden Lion, you still have to try it, right? Shua. Just as the Golden Lion flashed in front of Sikong Ye, the latter activated the illusion sleep. I thought that even if the effect was weak, it should at least have some effect. Unexpectedly, as soon as Sikong Ye stared at him, he suffered a backlash. There was a roar in his mind, and a line of blood and tears flowed out of his left eye uncontrollably. Golden Lion, who was not affected in the slightest, frowned, not knowing why Sikong Ye's sudden burst of tears was playing. And still burst into tears. Sikong Ye, who knows nothing can be done, has a splitting headache and is about to use the super distance ship to retreat, but at this moment his body is stunned. Immediately, his whole body was covered with pitch black armor. An evil beast with fierce eyes and fangs suddenly appeared in front of the Golden Lion, releasing black tentacles all over its body, instantly binding the Golden Lion. Lion Majesty. Golden Lion intends to use lion fruit to remove the tentacles around him, but unexpectedly finds that 867's fruit ability has failed. Wait, is this dark fruit? As the legendary big pirate, Golden Lion also has some knowledge about devil fruit, so he naturally knows some abilities of dark fruit. Among them is the ability to nullify fruit-capable users. But he never expected that dark fruit would transform into some kind of wild beast like a phantom beast. In addition, the white-haired boy Sikong Ye is only 10 years old when he is full of money. This is an age that makes it easy for people to relax their vigilance, so that Golden Lion subconsciously ignores the threat of dark fruit. Feeling Garp approaching behind him, Golden Lion felt dignified for the first time. I fought with Garp before, but he can fly directly into the sky if I can't beat him. Even if Garp casts Moonwalk, he will definitely not be able to catch up with him. Because of this, he has always had a confident attitude. However, now that Lion Fruit's ability is invalid, if Garp catches the opportunity, he will be miserable. Could it be that my mind was trapped by the door? I came here to provoke the Dark Fruit ability user. Golden Lion was a little confused. However, he was a great pirate who had roamed the seas for decades, and Golden Lion immediately waved the Sakura 10 and the dead wood in his hand. Slash wave. Wielding Sakura 10 in his hand, a giant slash that could cut hundreds of kilometers across the sea straightly slashed towards Venom's chest. The Venom opened the dark cave in front of him, and sent the slash into the unknown space. Seeing that Venom blocked his powerful blow so simply and neatly, the Golden Lion felt like a dream. Sikong Ye seems to be only 10 years old, but he can actually block his attack. Are you sure you're not joking? Even Garp, who was about to arrive at the battlefield, felt incomprehensible to Sikong Ye's strength after seeing this scene. Monster. I didn't seem to be able to beat this kid when I was 10 years old, hiss. Lion. Thousand Slice Valley. Golden Lion once again swung several giant slashes that could split mountains and seas, and continued to use slashes to walk on both sides of the dark cave, trying to bypass the dark cave and directly attack the venom. Seeing such dense slashing attacks, the venom is inevitable and can only resist. With just one move, the venom was chopped into dozens of pieces by the Golden Lion, and Sikong Ye inside the venom was also chopped into dozens of pieces. Gee ha 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 hiccup. Golden Lion laughed wantonly, only to find that the venom fragments were slowly gathering together and reassembling them into a whole. The self-healing ability quickly repaired the injury, and pulled back Sikong Ye, who was only a thin line away from death. Meanwhile, Golden Lion notices that lion fruit is still unusable. Only then did he notice that the tentacles of the venom were still attached to his body. Golden Lion wanted to shake it off, but found that the black liquid was trying to wrap him. Even the venom on Sikong Ye's body flocked to the Golden Lion, intending to forcibly board him. BB. Go away. Get away. Lousy. Golden Lion felt very annoyed, put down Sakura 10 and the dead wood, spit out the cigar, and kept tearing the black substance off his body with both hands. However, no matter how much he tore at it, he couldn't completely remove the venom. If venom still has the weakness of sound waves and flames at this moment, maybe Golden Lion still has a way. But the venom with no side effects at all and the dark fruit's ability to nullify it can almost completely defeat any fruit-capable person. Armed color. Golden Lion roared violently, and immediately covered his whole body with jet black armed colors. The deep black is shocking. This is the true strength that the legendary Great Pirate should have. The Golden Lion in the theatrical version that didn't even display Conqueror's Haki is simply a joke. Golden Lion tears the black substance with its armed arms, the effect is still insignificant, but it can ensure that the venom will not penetrate into the skin. White-haired boy, let me show you the spirit of the King of the Sea. The next moment, the suffocating and desperate Conqueror's Haki hit the venom, but the Conquerors had no effect on the venom. Not even a tiny bit of spray was turned up. Golden Lion. The face was caught off guard. How did the Golden Lion know that venom possesses mental immunity and can ignore the Conquerors? Hey, I can't deal with this pitch black thing, can't I also deal with your body? Saying so, the Golden Lion was about to launch an attack on Sikong Ye, and the Venom Protector was eager to return to Sikong Ye's body to form a venom armor. Second gear. Venom grimaced at the corner of his mouth and spit out 2 words. Immediately, the Venom imitated Luffy with his left hand on his knees and his right hand hitting the ground, pumping with his legs, and bursts of black smoke came out of his body. His eyes were full of brutality and bloodlust, like a demon returning from hell. The blood flow accelerated, enhancing Venom's all-round physical fitness, especially in terms of speed. Every movement seemed to be performing a shave. In a short period of time, Sikong Ye's strength has been upgraded from the original C+ level to B level. The Venom kept approaching the Golden Lion by moving at high speed, but before it could get close, it was chopped off by the Golden Lion. Even if your strength becomes stronger, ants are not ants. Golden Lion was mocking. Seeing that Garp was coming, he had lost interest in fighting, and now he just wanted to escape and go to naval headquarters to find his place later. But before that, he still needs a hostage. Sikong Ye has thorns all over his body, and if he is not careful, he will hurt himself. Instead of taking a ticking time bomb, the Golden Lion ultimately chose Zoro. Seeing this, Sikong Ye urged the Venom to stretch out its tentacles crazily to stop Golden Lion, but after the latter suffered a loss, he would not let those tentacles get close to his body even if he was killed. After cutting off the tentacles with several knives, Golden Lion quickly distanced itself from the tentacles.